I admit that little countdown theme always gets me kind of bobbing my head a little bit when I do these shows live, when I hear that music. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to MazzaMedia's live show tonight. We have a fundraiser link at the top of the chat and in the description. All donations made during the show will count towards the total. Right now, presently, Kelsey Fitzsimmons' fundraiser is at $35,058. We'll calculate every amount donated during this show to that total, and hope to have a successful show for Kelsey. As everybody knows, Kelsey Fitzsimmons remains in jail at this time. We're outraged by that. This is one of the most ridiculous incarcerations in the country right now, and it's one of the biggest problems with our justice system, especially here in Massachusetts. And I think that at the heart of all of this is people that are fighting right now at every front. And I don't mean fighting in a violent manner. I mean fighting in a righteous and justifiable manner within the legality of the law, which is helping people by any means necessary by raising funds. A few standouts have been done, maybe even more to come. We'll see how that goes. But as this thing picks up speed, this is a situation that's very, very depressing, very, very harrowing. And I'm going to mispronounce that word, but very, very sad and upsetting. And it's very frustrating. And we saw this happen with Karen Reed. We've seen this happen in a few other cases as well. Sandra Birchmore, for example, is they're finally getting a path to justice for her more and more as we go, as well as her unborn child. And we hope to do the same thing for Kelsey Fitzsimmons, which is give her a wave of support in a big way that can help drive things forward for her in the most positive way imaginable. And we did that for Karen Reed. Many of us did, supporting Karen Reed through 2 trials for many years, most of us, and offering that support. So we got a great show tonight. We have a panel with us tonight as well. We have several individuals that will be joining us. We will have Britt Happens joining us later in the program. And we have 3 guests joining us right now. And we're going to start off with Boston Bia, who just came off Calling All Beings.
Hello.
Lauren. Hello. Lauren's with us. And from across the pond, Brooken Baker with us as well tonight. And thank you guys for joining MazzaMedia Live. And recently, Megan, who's a longtime friend of Kelsey Fitzsimmons, sorry about that, just loading up a screen there. Kelsey Fitzsimmons recently was on the Young Jerks. I had some things to offer up in terms of her thoughts on Kelsey, her friendship with Kelsey, and just her general thoughts on that. Bia, I'd like to lead off with you. Did you catch that interview? Did you have some thoughts in reaction to that?
I did catch it. And one of the things that she alluded to was there's still a lot of information. So imagine that we're outraged as we're seeing things unfold. Imagine what she was holding back. She was basically saying that wait till you hear the rest of it, which is something that Kelsey, also outside of court, the day she was released on bail, said, there's more to this story. So I can't even imagine what's in store for us for information that we haven't seen at this point, because it sounds like it's going to be, there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, it seems to be some controversy too, that Megan had suggested, which basically stemmed from people essentially aligning themselves against her. Lauren, did you have any reaction to that or thoughts about that as opposed to what you had heard from Megan telling?
Yeah, I just thought what a great friend she was and how fortunate Kelsey and her both were to have each other. But besides that, I picked up on the fact that this wasn't just something that came out of the blue, that there was some kind of animosity between that family and Kelsey before all this. Which makes more sense given how nasty kind of the family and Justin are being with this whole thing.
Yeah, it's been very shocking. It's been essentially it's just mind blowing that and I think the biggest thing too is regardless of what we feel about anybody that is acting against her, the biggest controversy for me is the justice system and all of this, because essentially it's the justice system that is essentially putting her in jail, putting her on requirements to have a breathalyzer test that she can't physically complete. I think this is outrageous, quite honestly.
Agreed.
And Brooke Baker, just any thoughts about that as well as we?
No, I think in comparison to the Karen Reed, there's a bigger support system already in place for Kelsey. It's not like with Karen Reed, we became her support system. Yeah. You locals way more than me potting in from across the pond. She seems to have a really good network, and I think that's the most important. A thing I really feel is forgotten, especially because my grandson had his first birthday last week. Well, Wednesday this week. This is a young mother who hasn't seen her child in 1/3 of his lifetime. Yeah. And this is a young child. We know from behavioral psychology how important the bonding process with the mom is, especially at this stage of the child's life. And I think that's forgotten. And when I read these filings, that kid is just a number. And I feel the kid is kind of being, we shouldn't drag him up on show pictures or anything, but that's what I sit with after seeing all of this. There's a kid who has lost his mom to what seems to be, she made a mistake if she waved something around. That's what it is. But then the system took a mother from a child and a child from a mother. And I think that's the biggest disgrace.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely disgusting and sickening. And that's, that's the big thing too, is that this, and I said that in a recent show, this should be nothing bigger than a battle for custody or a battle for, what she did or didn't do inside the house. This should not be a battle of her trying to get out of jail right now for a non-DUI. B, have you ever heard of anything like that where you have to take a breathalyzer when you actually haven't been charged with anything related to your blood alcohol level? It just, to me, it makes no sense at all.
It doesn't make sense. And not to keep comparing to Karen Reed, but Karen Reed did have a DUI charge and she wasn't even required. She was released out on bail, on bond, I should say, with no requirements for a breathalyzer. So it just doesn't seem, a woman who was, regardless of what happened initially in that home, she was in the hospital for 53 days, still had pending surgeries that she even had to cancel. And here we are hearing that she needs to take a breathalyzer when nothing around the circumstances that brought them to her charges were involved between her driving or a DUI situation. The only thing that was mentioned was days before was her, them coming back from a bachelorette where she may have drank, but it's like, that's not even the situation that happened on the day of that. So no, to answer your question, sorry to long-winded answer.
Don't worry about it.
No, I've never heard of such thing. And you think the punishment needs to fit the crime. And that wasn't what her allegations were.
Right. That's the biggest thing that stands out to me as well, is why is this a imprisonment for blood alcohol level? She's failing to take a test. Why was she even required? I don't know. But I just don't think that it fits, like you said, the punishment for the crime and the judges being absolutely ecstatic about the fact that this needs to be enforced. And I think that, like I said about Judge Beverly Canoni, I always said the judge is the biggest problem. And here we are again, where I think in this situation, the judge is the biggest problem, because she's the one that is allowing this to persist, is allowing, we're many of us are more outraged about this because we're outraged over the fact of everything aside, and she's in jail right now. She's sitting in a cell. At the very least, she could be at home on house arrest. At the very least, she doesn't get to see her child. But on top of all of that, she's got to sit in a prison cell too, when there's really no active threat to the community. They know it's postpartum. They know that's what it is. And nothing more needs to be made of it than what's going on right now. And it's absolutely outrageous that she's in jail. And I'm speechless. Lauren, I'll defer to you.
Yeah, no, I echo what Bia said. This is ridiculous. The day of the incident where she got arrested had absolutely nothing to do with alcohol. It is unnecessary. It is a misuse of the justice system, and as this tool, it doesn't apply to her. So it's insane to me. And then the fact that she doesn't get to see her child is, honestly, I think there's civil matters after this whole thing is over that will fall into place due to the misjustice that is happening right now. But I defer to attorneys on that. But in my mind, it seems like something that could very well take place after the fact, after all of this gets straightened out, which I have no doubt that it will.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of anybody? Oh, go ahead, Brockenbecker.
And again, what are they basing that need for a breathalyzer? A boyfriend who seems very good at writing the right words into emotion so you get a guaranteed time in front of a judge, who says, well, she was drunk, a former Marine, if I'm correct, or at least a former soldier, who she threw around in a bedroom, and then nothing happened, and she went to hotel. That whole story, reading that, when I read that in his affidavit, I was thinking, man, I know men can be in abusive relationships as well, but just go and read the story. If you haven't read his affidavit, everything it's like they said with the script how to get her thrown in prison, and just, oh, I need to put that word in, boom, 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 boom. It seems so planned. That's all I can say from it.
It's a one-sided,
Yeah.
self-serving narrative is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's. I am just absolutely flabbergasted that my biggest concern is that these judges can just rule however they deem fit. They can just literally say, well, I think you should go to jail. Or, well, and I still argue this. That judge did not have to throw her back in jail for the scram. You know, the lack of the testing, the lack of the use of the breathalyzer. She could have just sat there and said, we understand your shot. Attorney Bradel, we're not going to require you to submit any medical report. We're gonna switch the test. We're gonna put you on notice, though, that if you don't do this other test that we're gonna offer, we're gonna have to send you to jail. You know, like to me, that would be a degree of reasonability. I just feel like this judge just made a decision, locked her up, and all but threw away the key. And that's what bothers me. And I was thinking about this before the show. This is not to, as a man, to pander to women, but I would think that you would expect this maybe out of a judge that was a man. And I'm not trying to attack based on gender here. What I'm saying is that my highest point that I'm making is, wouldn't we expect more out of a judge that was a woman in this situation, to have more empathy for a woman that was you know what I'm saying? B, I'll let you kind of jump off.
Oh my God. Spot on, Mazza. And I do get that, because you think as a female that's assessing the situation that she'd have more empathy and compassion. And that's what she lacked on that day, was compassion. And the thing is that Kelsey sitting in jail, she's not getting the help, the mental health help that she needed or needs. So again, they should be working towards reunification, but this man has gone ahead and filed all these things, assuming that he's going to have custody for the next 18 years. So again, this judge did not show empathy or sympathy for the situation, and just thought that she'd be better served in a jail than being outside, having access to, proper mental health care that she needs to potentially one day lead to reunification with her baby. Not cool.
But even beyond that, there is a thing where you see it, especially with women who gain some form of status in a male-dominated world. They will become more men than men. You see it in some judges. They will be harder on women, and I think it's a compensation. Well, they can't see me as being too lenient on women, so I'll go harder on them. But I don't see that. We heard her audio. That had nothing to do with, I'm just gonna treat her like everyone. She had an emotional crisis of some sort. she should never have been on the bench in that state she was in that day. Whatever the reason was, you could hear the way she just leaves the room. What just happened?
Yeah. The way that happened, it came off extremely biased. And why? What's behind the scenes? Does she know someone that's involved in this case? Something, I stand by that. Something is not right. It doesn't pass the smell test. I've never seen a judge act like this, and there's some really unfair judges that I've seen, and this is absurd. Shame on her. She took her liberties and went way above and beyond and did not care. The community is not threatened by Kelsey Fitzsimmons. That is an absolute joke, and that is what the bond and bail system is for. And this woman went and tried to make it something that it wasn't.
We recently had Halloween yesterday, and in October, one of the biggest destinations anywhere in the world is Salem, Massachusetts, which is the very location that court has been taking place. And in Salem, Massachusetts, it's very much well known historically for witch trials. And I had some people that were anti-Kelsey Fitzsimmons fire back at me for that comment. But during the witch trials, they'd simply accuse a woman of being a witch and essentially put her on trial before the community and do what they needed to do to rid her from society, which was very inhumane and unrepenting in a way. And I feel like that's kind of what's happened to Kelsey here. Whereas she's a respected, she's not just someone that has a history here. That's someone that's had violent outbursts, has had drunk driving, issues. And I don't care if there's a little bit of ticky-tack. I don't know her history, but even if there's a little ticky-tack here and there or something happened during college, whatever, she doesn't have a history, at least in the past decade, of having any level of reckless endangerment. I mean, this lady at the end of the day is a police officer. She's someone that's sworn to uphold the law. She is someone that's been entrusted by her town and community to represent enforcing the law. It's not like she was driving a police cruiser and was intoxicated, which actually happened recently, which was all over X about a month or two ago, where an officer in Massachusetts was heavily intoxicated. And Kelsey has always done what she needs to do. And the thing is here, postpartum depression is a thing. It's well known. And realistically, if someone wants to say, well, she did pull a gun, there was a shooting incident that happened inside of her house. I hear that, totally do. But again, outside of the realm of postpartum depression, does this woman have any history of acting this way? And I said the same thing about Karen Reed. If you look at Karen Reed prior to January 29, 2022, and you look at Karen Reed after that date, do you hear any history of her assaulting someone, driving a vehicle at someone, having drunk driving issues, road rage issues? Do you hear anything about that at all? And the answer is no, it's a zero across the board. And that's the same exact thing with Kelsey Fitzsimmons here. There's really nothing there, to Lauren's point, to say this woman is a threat to the community. This woman's blood alcohol level is an issue. And that's what makes me sick, is that I ask the judges, here's the thing. Some people say, well, you might be asking the judge to give you what you want. Well, no, I'm asking the judge to be fair and impartial. And when I look at this myself, fair and impartially, Bia made this point a few moments ago, the punishment doesn't fit the violation. And that's the big issue I have here. Bia, I'll defer to you next. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you look at the charges that she was originally charged with, they were downgraded because the grand jury came back with a no true bill on assault. So she's only has, Lauren, help me out here. She has assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, that's every time you pull out a handgun in front of an officer, that's automatically that you will get that.
So they didn't even charge her with the higher crime. They charged her with a lesser crime. And again, at the end of the day, whatever situation because there's no body cams, we'll never know what actually took place. But that's another side story. She was the one that was shot. how is she a danger to this officer in the community? Because this is why they sent her back to jail, because she's a threat to the officer Noonan and the community, when she was the one that was shot and has been recovering and was airlifted to Massachusetts, Mass General in Boston, and spent 53 days in trying to recover. And it's a miracle that she survived. So now she's the one that's a threat to the community. Like, how does this even make sense?
Doesn't.
No, that's the big problem. As Mazza said, there's no drinking involved in this. They're trying to allude that something she did a week before led to this. That's why you can give her the drinking. And again, she stated, I pulled it out and did this. So she is a danger to herself. You give her a GPS tracker and tell the parents you have to store your pew-pews at the police station as long as she is at your house. Bingo, bango, everything's a tango. She can't leave the house. She can't get close to the officer. She can't have access to anything. That's what you needed to do. There is no rhyme or reason to any of these precautions they're taking. She doesn't need to blow because she wasn't drunk when they picked her kid up.
Yeah.
She shouldn't probably have a pew-pew because, according to herself, she did try and click, which, again, she was just cleared of postpartum. Could probably be lingering at the same time. And you're taking her kid, yeah, you're going to make a volcano blow off. But all of this smells so bad, but everything in Massachusetts, I'm sorry to say, everything in Massachusetts smells so bad. And it's on every level. And that's the worst part, I think, we see with these cases. Because just like Jen McCabe, these are just soccer moms. It's just normal soccer moms. And this judge signed off that. Can I ask all of you a question? Why was he at the house? Why did the police tell him to come? Why wasn't there a CPS worker picking up the kid?
That part.
I think that's putting so much stress into a situation. You will get a reaction.
Yeah.
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 And why not ask her to exit the house and remove the pew-pews that they know she had? So before she could put herself or anybody else in danger, shouldn't they have picked up the pew-pews that they knew before they even got there, that were there? I mean, I get that not every time they roll up on a house, they know, but they knew. She had just gotten her pew-pews back and was getting ready to start a few days later, back to work. She had been cleared to return to work. I believe it was July 3rd she was going back, and this happened on June 30th. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the police department is negligent at the very least, okay? Because that is not okay for their safety, just for them. They should have went in and removed the weapon that they were well aware was in that house that she had just received back, and then cleared the situation, made sure there was no other weapons in there. They didn't do that. So was it that they just didn't think she was a threat? Well, that doesn't help them, does it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't help Justin's case either. So protocols were not followed here. To Baker's point, it is absolutely outrageous that Justin was there on the premises. All that does is escalate a situation, and they know that. They go through training for that. So many things were mishandled, and it led to this ultimate situation where Kelsey was shot. And all I know is the fact that Noonan's account of what happened that night doesn't add up. It just doesn't. No. His reports and his things don't.
Lauren, to that point,
and they changed. They changed his explanation.
Yes, they did.
Lauren, what stood out to you the most about his report? What is like the first thing that makes you just sit there and just nod your head negatively? And
yeah, so I believe he says basically what he's saying to her isn't what everyone else heard in the house. And if you are having your partner pull a gun on you, you're going to say a whole lot more than something. I can't remember his exact verbiage, but
stop, Lauren, don't do it, or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Which would make sense.
Lauren, sorry, stop, Kelsey.
No, but no, exactly what you're saying. And which would make sense to her putting it to her head, right? Not to it being put at him. nothing adds up. There's this whole thing about a door, and there was no door there. That's a huge red flag. Also, if she was a danger, why are you going up there by yourself? The other officer left. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense. And I think it's her word against his word, and he knew he had to change the narrative. Otherwise, it would have been his job on the line, him behind a cell.
I agree. And that's let's compare it to the Karen Reed case a little bit too. There was a lot of, like, one of the things that bothered me about the crime scene was that they were finding taillight after the fact. A week or two down the road, oh, we're finding taillight. Oh, look, we're having to drive down the street, and there's some taillight here. And that gets back to police protocol, Lauren, like you were mentioning earlier, is this whole thing, and Bia said this too, which is, I believe she might have been breastfeeding when the cops arrived. Is that what everyone's to understand? Okay. They could have just secured her then in that living room and just, I don't know how they would have handled that situation. But I think that goes back to the other point for a moment, which is why it's important to have female officers as well in a situation like this. DCF, obviously, but a female police officer or two, depending on how many they had on duty at the time, would have been a much better way to handle a situation like this, especially to have an officer that can, speak with Kelsey. And I think when you have men in a situation like this, it may come off a little bit more aggressive. But I think if you have a female officer, that might be a little bit more of a means to have that kind of, especially a female officer she would have known because she would have been in the same police force. It might have cooled things down a little bit. And that's where the police have really failed. They failed themselves, but they also failed her. They really failed to maintain control over the situation. And that's something we see in life. We see it from law. We see it in sports. We see it across the board where things are not properly handled and problems are not prevented before they have an opportunity. Now, let's be fair to police officers. They can't possibly expect every single outcome. That's not possible. But there is a certain handful of things that you can do. I mean, none of us here have ever been cops, right? I'm not sure who's been a cop or not, or been through law enforcement training or not here, but we're sitting here saying, well, at least contain her to the living room. If you can't at that exact moment, say it's 5 to 10 more minutes before you can get her out of the house, then contain her for 5 to 10 minutes in that living room. Don't allow her. Why is she upstairs? Why is she allowed to go upstairs? And then and many people have said this. It's been said on this show a few times over. They knew she had a firearm in the house. They knew about this. They knew all about that. And they knew that she was probably going to have it. I can't imagine any woman in the history of this planet ever saying, yes, please take my baby away from me. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I'm happy I don't have to have a kid anymore. Yeah, just take my baby. Sure, fine. That's not going to be the reaction that's going to happen. You can bet your bottom dollar, at the very least, there's going to be a lot of screaming, shouting, anger, emotion. All that stuff is coming out of you. And
this was all done ex parte. She had previously been at the park for 3 hours waiting for him to get there. And then she went home, was feeding her baby, and then she gets the knock on the door. What about the shock factor? That she wasn't expecting this. She didn't know what he was up to. She had been stood up. She's sitting there taking care of her infant. And she had no idea what all of a sudden her world turned upside down. They're there to take her baby and serve her with a restraining order. Unbelievable.
I go ahead, Baker.
But the story is she was going upstairs to get clothes for the baby, right?
Yeah, like the diaper bag. Yeah.
Can I ask a question from you ladies? I live in a country where we don't have free and easy access to pew-pews. How often do you store your pew-pew next to your diaper bag in a kid's room? To me, that's another one of those where I think, does that line up? Because, he said she launched behind the door. No, she didn't, because there is no door. And again, I love the videos where you hear a window break and then taser. There's some of my favorite videos on YouTube. But at even a simple traffic stop where they suspect there might be anything in the car, they'll put nice jewelry on their hands.
Right.
Why didn't you do this? And why, when you called Justin to the premises, did the lieutenant go down to help take him away from the premises? When I read that he had been ordered there, because I read their statement first, it seemed like he just rolled up on them. No, he was called over there. So why did number 2 guy leave? I think Noonan was there because, hey, they were partners. He might be able to do, as you said, with a female officer, maybe calm her down a bit. But if he knew Justin was coming, why did he have to go down again? There's so many of these things where he said, is it just shitty police work, or is it, are they trying to escalate?
And to that point, I stand by the fact that it should not have been her partner and any officer that she was close to. Because why? People are more comfortable with people they know. They are more likely to have less of a reaction for people that they don't know well. So I stand by the fact that it shouldn't have been someone that close to her. So it should have been, if they were going to use that department, which I feel like it should have been someone else, and someone could have accompanied that department that she knew. But it shouldn't have been someone that close to her. And then the fact that they had him on the premises is just completely so far out of line. It's absurd. They escalated the situation. And I mean, not to mention these people, there was a firearm. There were multiple firearms pulled in this situation. The people that they had there on scene could have very well been hit with a bullet. Again, it's a liability thing. There's a million reasons why you don't have someone like Justin at this scene.
Right, because that kind of, I think that's almost, in a sense, it's like if you're, I don't know what to compare this, but it's just like if someone's agitated. It's like if you get in trouble in school and you get in an argument with a classmate, and your teacher tells you to go to the principal's office, and the kid that you were getting in an argument with is taunting you. I'm not saying he did that, but I'm saying it can kind of trigger you just a little bit when you have someone like himself there. It can be triggering, and that's another situation that could also escalate a situation like this. This is an absolute joke, and it's a total farce. All of this from top to bottom, and the way they handled all of this. We see here, by having Justin at the scene, it threw gasoline on the fire. I mean, yeah, it definitely did. I mean, again, having your child taken away of it in itself is going to stir a reaction, right? And beyond that, then him being there, I mean, how is she not going to get even more agitated? You mean he's going to take the kid and blah, 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 blah. And I mean, having your kid taken away, I mean, something I never experienced. But if my family or my animal, the only way I can relate to this, was taken away from me, if someone came for my cat, I'd be very upset about my cat. Let alone this is a mother and her child here, which is a lot bigger bond, and that's a lot more sacred than me and my cat. Okay, so
didn't they try to take her dog as well?
They may have. That I haven't heard.
I heard that they did.
That's wild if that's the case.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is, a child is somebody you brought into this life. I mean, you created this being, and you instantly, as a mother, have this amazing bond with your baby. So for this to have happened, and as I'm sitting here thinking, what honestly makes more sense? At that moment, her baby was being taken from her arms, her career, everything was on. She felt like she was losing everything. What would make more sense, for her to then take her partner's life or her own? Just simply speaking, whose life at that point do you think she was more? What was she going to gain by potentially shooting her partner? She was not going to get that child back, but it was herself that she was. It just makes more sense that she was doing this to herself as opposed to her partner.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially with the postpartum on the back end of this.
Exactly.
But it's been a while since I read his affidavit. All of this, there was some vague, I want to take him on a trip. I'm wondering why in the first place was he allowed to get the kid from her, because she was beating on him a week before, and that said something vague about, I want to go on a long trip. There's nothing in it that really speaks of a clear and imminent danger. Why couldn't they have had a hearing and said, well, we need to hear both sides. No, we'll just roll up with the cavalry in the middle of the night where she's been standing outside in a park for X amount of hours, and take your kid. It's almost like going on a holiday in Ukraine right now. Do you think it's going to be a really good holiday, or do you think it's going to end up in kind of a disaster? It seems like it's just meant to go wrong, and again, sometimes incompetence can't explain everything.
That's a great point, Baker. You can't enter into a situation and do nothing to prevent things and then be shocked when things don't go right. So that's exactly what happened here. They didn't follow procedure. They did nothing really to protect themselves, Kelsey, the baby, or anyone around. And then they're like, oh, goodness, so surprised that something terrible happened. No, that's why the protocols are in place.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too, is they put her in a maximum level of where anything could happen. Did they secure a weapon? No. Someone said she may have told them that she didn't have a gun. I'm sure that I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I think they'd imagine she had a firearm in the house, but
they knew.
Yeah. They knew. And that's the thing. They also put their own lives at stake. I mean, what if she had legitimately fired a weapon at them? And, beyond the officer that was in the bedroom there, who else in the house could have evolved into a stairwell shootout, for goodness sakes? I mean, it's a very difficult situation to be placed in. And again, you expect more from these officers. I understand, okay, what's their training? I don't know. But yeah, I imagine you do have a basic policy and a way you procedure here and a way you conduct yourselves. But I'll tell you this much. This was extremely reckless. It was extremely dangerous. Again, we said this before, and last time we did a show here, it was not only dangerous for Kelsey, it was dangerous for them. I mean, can you imagine if she had been so enraged by all this that she shot Noonan several times, killed him, went downstairs, engaged in a shootout. And Kelsey's, let's keep in mind here, she is a trained operator of a firearm. She's not someone that doesn't know how to, she's not someone that fired cap guns her whole life. Okay. She is someone that has some training here. And in a shootout situation, that could be a hazard to them, because let's just say she happened to shoot a few officers. Now all of a sudden these guys they're going home in body bags, and they can't allow that to happen for themselves. These officers, regardless of whether we like them or not, whether we agree with them or not, have a duty to themselves and each other to also protect themselves from any possible shootout or violent matter that they may engage in. And they know they're going in a house with a young mother that's going through a lot, is about to have her child seized, which is, like anything in this world. I remember we were driving down the street when I was 10, 12 years old, me and my mom and my sister, and a car sped out about probably 50 to 100 feet ahead. And my mom just overreacted and tried to put her arm, I was sitting in the front seat, and put her arm in front of me. I said, Mom, the car's like 100 feet away. Calm down. Okay. But that's a mother's instinct, is to protect their children and protect them from any kind of threat or any kind of thing that could possibly happen. And now my mom's instinct just clicked in that situation. I got a little embarrassed, like, Mom, just, I don't want to go out like this,
Like, and in that situation that you're saying, Mazza, the other thing that came to mind is that she potentially knew one of these officers were holding her baby. So I don't think she's going to come guns a-blazing and trying to shoot up the place. Like, let's keep it real. One of these four, there was four, I believe there's a total of 4 officers in the house, or 3?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3. So one of them was holding her child. She was definitely not coming down, trying to take people
Wasn't
out.
her child with her mother? Wasn't the mother in the living room with the kid? Did I get that wrong?
I've heard that the mom was there. I don't know where the mom was, though. If in fact that's true, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we at this moment everyone have heard something.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Sorry,
one is holding her baby. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't even make sense that she'd go upstairs to gather the baby's belongings and then somehow just start opening fire because it doesn't make sense. One of these people within that house was holding her child. She was not going to start, you know, even though she was you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense without being there. The whole story just doesn't make sense in their narrative. Her narrative that her life flashed before her eyes, that she was upset and decided to take action on herself, makes more sense than all of a sudden she's somehow, you know, going to go after the other officers. It just, that doesn't add up.
Right. It doesn't. And that's to the point too, where it could have happened, but it didn't happen. And that's the ultimate point here, is that they didn't handle the situation from the get-go. And if they had, she wouldn't have been placed in a situation where they're suddenly claiming, oh, well, yeah, she pulled the firearm out on us. And when she tried to fire the thing, it jammed as well. It's like, really? I mean, that's a very far-fetched story.
Yes, it is.
Lauren, did you want to comment?
No, I think it's very far-fetched, like you said. And the fact is that allegedly Kelsey had the gun out first, right? So why wasn't Noonan dead then, if that's the case? She's strange. I mean, none of it adds up. It just doesn't add up.
No.
Well, we have to believe, because she said I pointed at myself, and Bradel have said that she had a weapon and it clicked. God, whatever, kept a hand over her that day. She might not have loaded it. She just, I just want to get away from this, which I could see a mother in that. But again, back to the procedure. Why would the lieutenant go down? You're there to protect the guy. Justin coming to the house, Justin coming to the house is not the problem. That's not the one you need to take care of, because he said, I went down so she would calm down. No, you stay with her, because now you just added to her stress level. She's the person you need to focus, you need to contain, you need to have your eyes on. You don't need to go down and talk to Justin and his sister. His sister is there. Again, what's going on?
I have a circus like in my mind when I think of that scene. It's a circus. How many people do you have there that don't need to be there? And then you are having your baby taken away, and you know that the man that is doing this to you is in the home. Can you imagine? I mean, that's enough to make anyone irate.
Right, exactly. I mean, did they also knock on every door in the neighborhood to make sure that the whole neighborhood was there? Did they also have popcorn and cotton candy available so everyone could partake in this matter? I mean, how many people are going to be participants in this? This is ridiculous. It's just, it's what really, like I always said, either these cops are really, really bad or they're really, really corrupt. And it could be both. I don't know. But it's another situation where, like I said, I don't want to be someone that comes off as anti-police. I'm not anti-police, but I am anti-police corruption. I am anti-police making mistakes.
Police.
Yeah.
Bad police.
Anti-bad police. Yeah, exactly. And that's the issue here. And I think, a lot of times with Karen Reed, a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are all anti-police. We're really not. We're really not. No. I mean, John O'Keefe was a cop. Let's not forget that. We supported Karen Reed's innocence and wanted the true killers to go down, and we supported John O'Keefe.
We're raising money for a cop right now.
That's right. Exactly. Right. It's Nicolay Baker. Exactly. 100%. That's exactly right. We're fighting for an officer.
But we're also looking at, as I understood it, and again, I try and read what's out there, that police department has a little bit of a problem with women as well.
Yes. We were just reading, going over two different complaints where that this toxic environment was being fostered by the Chief Gray, who was allowing this behavior. Like the women's bathrooms were, not kept clean, and there was mold and things like he was taking their personal vehicles and moving them. I mean, just the whole crazy things. We literally just went through this on Calling All Beings, of this behavior that was being allowed, and with the chief's blessing. And there are several lawsuits out there currently.
Yeah, which would make sense, right? If this police station has multiple lawsuits stating sexual harassment, misogyny, that kind of thing, that would make perfect sense as to why they supported Noonan. An officer-involved shooting, and one's a male and one's a female. So where do you think the support's going to go?
Yeah.
And I know that we know that there's way more good police than, that are out there. Like, this is who we call in case of an emergency. We know there's good out there, but these cases, what it's highlighting are the bad ones. So again, we're not anti-police. This is who, I mean, you don't need them. You don't need them until you need them. So that's somebody there, unlike the people of Canton who are afraid to call the police. The rest of us, in other cities are not. But it's the behavior of a few bad apples that this is what we're trying to highlight, are the ones that are not doing the right thing and doing things that are unethical.
But I think it's kind of a Massachusetts problem, because what's the problem in the Karen Read case? From Norfolk County's DA's office and down, you have this culture spreading out. It's acceptable cutting corners, apparently talking about people of different color in a very bad way, talking about female suspects' bodies. So I think you have, because they probably swap. Well, you get to a certain level, you'll pop over to another department and be there for some years, and then you can get promoted. I think this shows that that statewide you have a massive leadership problem in Massachusetts. That you need someone there need to be internal investigations going on in Massachusetts, because we see it in Boston as well. There's a lot of bad cops right now being caught up in. There was a guy who sadly raped a 13-year-old boy who was an officer doing that. And there's a lot of this where you think it can only stem from a bad culture in the police department. Women are not the same as us. We're treating all the everyone who we think is guilty, we just treat them like crap. And that's the wrong way to go about it. It seems weird.
Yeah, definitely. Innocent until proven guilty is the way we're supposed to be running things. But here it's, a little backwards sometimes.
Right. Kelsey says in her GiveSendGo page, this is her writing that she submitted. It says, as a police officer myself, I would never, ever think to intentionally hurt another police officer. I see everyone in uniform as my brothers and sisters. I would never hurt my friend. And that's a big statement there as well, that she has no ill will, no need for violence, even in the circumstance where a baby's being taken away. Yes, there's a reaction. Yes, there's she felt suicidal at the time. Yes, she drew her weapon, but at the same time, folks, anybody that thinks she really did this, it's like, come on. I don't know. It's just, to me, this is why it's sometimes tough to believe these situations in terms of what they say about someone else, because where are the body cams? It's the same thing with the Karen Read case. Where were the Ring doorbell footage? Where the Ring doorbell footage, with all the debates we had, just the other day, there was a debate about something that happened with somebody's tire. And sure enough, security footage from a parking lot came out that showed somebody walk up to their vehicle and take a picture of their own tire, apparently. Okay. It kind of showed you right then and there that, how did they know that something happened to their tire? I don't know.
Right. But why not check the other three?
Yeah.
Why don't you check the other three tires? How did you know exactly which one to check? It was going to have the issue. Yeah.
Right. And with the footage kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it? It shows you what happened. It shows you what went down, what didn't go down. And there you have it. And it's a similar situation with Karen Read. She backed up and she hit him. Okay, if that's what you're saying, that's fine. Show us the footage. Knock on the neighbors' doors. Did you cops knock on every neighbor's door? Collect ring footage? I don't know. Whatever you got for footage. Is there any footage that shows this? Anything at all? Did the homeowner have a Ring doorbell? Did they have any footage at all? It would just show. If you can play a video for me right now and show Karen Read backing up and hitting John O'Keefe, by all means, go for it. And you know what? If it shows that she did that, then I'll yield my support for Karen Read, no questions asked. But if you can't support that, and I look at all the other information, it says that she's innocent, well, I think I'm going to be free Karen Read for life, even after she has been freed, right? It's the same thing here. These officers are saying, well, she pulled a gun. Well, Kelsey Fitzsimmons is not denying that at all. Not denying that at all. But she's saying that she put the gun in her own head. They're saying that she pulled the gun, tried to fire the gun, that the gun jammed, that the gun started shooting bubbles and then started making cupcake. I don't know. It's a preposterous story. And that's the bottom line. No body cam.
And where's the de-escalation? Where's
Sure.
the de-escalation that should have occurred before you go shooting?
Yeah.
None.
100%.
There wasn't any. And Kelsey's extremely smart, right? She knows that those officers weren't the ones who caused this. They were there to do the removal because of Justin. She is not going to take it out on her fellow officer and her fellow partner.
Colleagues,
so she knows that this isn't where it's stemming from. So the whole thing doesn't line up. It doesn't make sense what they're claiming.
Can I just ask, answer adaptation? What happened to shoot to disarm? No one shoots to disarm, because if you have ever tried to do it, you will find out that this is really hard to hit when you're riding on adrenaline. You will always go center mass. That's how everyone from the first beat cop to the highest sniper in the Army, Navy is trained. If you hit center mass or go for center mass, that's way higher likelihood. All that Western pew pew, you can just shoot it out your hands. Doesn't happen. You will always go center mass.
To go with what you're saying, if you're pulling out your gun, you're pulling your gun out to shoot to kill. It's not for anything else.
Right. Exactly. And then you have alternatives like taser guns, in some cases pepper spray that can come in handy in a situation where whatever. But it's madness. All across the board, it's just madness. And that body cam thing, it's another situation for me when I compare it to the Karen Reed case, where I just say there's so many things that, I mean, Bia, you said it at the top of the show. You know, it's Kelly Reed's in the chat. What's going on, Kelly? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, it's one of those things where you just say, okay, body cams, you know, and Bia said this at the top of the show. You know, why not just either ask her to leave the house or contain her to the living room? You don't let someone start wandering their own home when they're either being taken into custody or you're there to seize a child and take that child out of their hands. Because even though I don't believe Kelsey acted this way, she could have. I mean, she obviously grabbed her own gun in a manner that was suicidal, right? That was using the firearm on herself, and all that. Kelly Reed's calling for a popcorn fundraiser. I agree. That would be awesome. That's for sure. But yes,
Mazza loves his popcorn.
I think Kelly Reed was asking if she needs something, some letters or anything.
Yes, a popcorn fundraiser. It was a two-part comment.
But before she said, "Do you need what?" Sorry, I was stuck in the old one. I thought, she's asking for people maybe want to send her some commissary or some letters of support.
She goes, "Do you know what?"
It's almost midnight. I'm just gonna.
That's all right. That's okay, Breaker. It's all right. So she goes,
"You're doing great, Baker."
Yeah, you're doing awesome. Thanks we love having you here, man. I know it's late for you. She says, "You know what Kelsey needs?" Then she goes, "A good old-fashioned popcorn raiser."
Gotcha.
now I'm up to speed. I was just thinking, Kelly's so nice. She's want us to send her a book or maybe some commissary. Everyone needs a Twinkie. I don't know.
Well, they were putting out the information to send her letters. She has enjoyed receiving letters from everyone. And she has made, the family and her have made comments about that. And they also had an Amazon wish list for with books that she wanted. And those were all purchased as well. So that was, something to keep her, busy for now, I guess.
Quick interlude. That link to her t-shirt link, a Facebook group, all that is in the chat. It's not in the chat, in the description of this video as well. So it should include the GiveSendGo, the group link. Point I missed to your point, Bia, was the info on writing to Kelsey's there as well. There was a post by Galama Suze. There's full instructions in that tweet. Access to that tweet link is in the description of this video. So you get the GiveSendGo Defense Fund. You got her Facebook group link. You have her t-shirt link, which is from Gator Boy. All proceeds from t-shirt purchases go to Kelsey Fitzsimmons. I almost call her Kelsey Reed. Kelsey Fitzsimmons, the GiveSendGo. Yeah, I've been someone read for the past 2 years, So, and then Kelsey's info on writing tour. So there's 4 pieces of information in that description for you guys, and anything you guys can do to help her. I know a lot of people are saying they got the T-shirt. A few people messaged me on Twitter today saying, or X, saying that they got the T-shirts. They're happy about it. A lot of them have the butterfly logo that she drew herself, which is fantastic. And that's what's great too, is you can get a T-shirt. You accomplish 2 things by getting the T-shirt. Number 1, your money is going to her GiveSendGo. Number 2, you're also able to wear a T-shirt in public that's going to get people to ask questions. And as we know, the free Karen Reed T-shirts were a tremendous success in raising awareness. How many people wore those around? People would say, "What's free Karen Reed about?" And there you go. It spreads that awareness. And who knows if those people eventually became big supporters, and maybe at the end of it all, they were actually outside the courthouse when the whole thing came to its ending, an epic conclusion there. So that's great news. So, all
and
right.
they're still wearing them till this day.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing the free Karen Reed T-shirts and sweatshirts.
I still wear my microdots one.
And I think you have to be very careful when you read the instructions for to send her notes and mail. There's some very strict rules for what, how, and when you can buy it. And almost 500. Can we get 500?
Yeah, we're getting to 500, closing in, which is great. Thank you guys so much for these donations. And it's helping Kelsey with not only her defense fund, but just medical needs as well. That's another thing that's very important about all this, is their medical needs, then other expenses that come up as well. So everyone says we need Mazza merch. I'd have to get that Mazza merch all over to Kelsey. I don't want to profit off it, but yeah, we could have maybe some Mazza T-shirts that says free Kelsey Fitzsimmons and donate all the proceeds to her. That'd be great. But for now, I think.
Sorry, no, I'm just saying no amount is too small.
Yeah,
a couple bucks, $5, all of that adds up. If everyone donated $2-3, that adds up and it makes a huge difference. And if you can't, then prayers and thoughts for the family are also very welcome and appreciated as well.
And also sharing your social medias, right? So spreading the awareness. If you can't, it's okay. But if you're able to share it and another person sees it, they share it, it does. As we saw as the Karen Reed fundraisers, we've seen how this works. If you help spread the word, people will share and donate, and those that can will. And if you can't, it's okay. Just help us spread the word is what's really important at this time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling, oh, we can't chip in. You can just, if you can share the link, if you watch right now, you're helping as well, because this, you watching or hitting the like button, subscribing, see how I just grifted that. By doing that, YouTube will see, okay, there is, I don't even know how many we have watching right now, 360 people watching us right now. Maybe more people need to see this. By just being active in chat, YouTube will boost it. And again, can we get one more person to know about this story who can tell one more person? And this is how, again, remember when the Karen Reed stuff started? I was watching some guy in Korea covering it, and then I started covering it in Denmark. That's how it became a worldwide sensation, was because someone was sharing a story and people thought, that's weird. And it's the same we're trying to do now by raising awareness. So please do all the sharing and stuff like that. That's just as important as contributing with money to it.
Yeah, 100%. Because, all the time, like, I've made a donation so far on one of the, I think it was the first or second fundraiser we did. That was my first donation. I'm going to be making a second one at some point. I don't know if I'm going to do that today or at a later time. I'll have to decide. But I may even do it today now that I kind of talked myself into it. But, that all contributes over time as well. So we want to make sure that we, even if we can't always donate, that we're always raising awareness, which is fantastic. So I think that's always a huge thing that we can do, is raise that awareness. Not every single person that's donated today donated on the last one. Might have watched the last one, or maybe they donated before. So that's why having more people into this thing will raise a lot of money. Like, look at Karen Reed, $1.1 million collaboratively. All the donations that came in for all of that was astronomical. An uncommonly well-funded defense fund, as Michael Morrissey once said there, and it's like this we need to borrow some money here for Norfolk County because Karen Reed's uncommonly well funded. It's like, yes, she is, because that's what happens when you try to railroad an innocent woman, which is what's happening here, in my opinion. She's in jail right now. Joseph Fitzsimmons is in jail. This is insane.
And it's not big donors. It's not the EDB of the world, true crime with hundreds and thousands of subscribers who. It's MazzaMedia who reaches out to other creators and say, hey, you want to spend a couple of hours a Saturday night doing this? And we were able to do a lot of damage against the state of Massachusetts by just being small, independent creators who came together, saw a cause, and elevated it. And this is what it should be about. It's been so wild tonight that Mazza now needs mods to run his chat for us. Or maybe Miss Jessica was just begging for a wrench, so we can sit and call her, hey wrench. But it shows you how important it is just to spread awareness, because that's how we beat Morrissey.
And this case has. Sorry.
No, I was just saying it wasn't someone dropping $1 million. It was $1 million droppings of one.
Absolutely.
And this case has the same kind of a pull as Karen Reed did. If you hear about this case and all the little pieces to it, you automatically get hooked and you're like, wait a second, this is not right on so many different levels. And we are going to be hearing Kelsey's story, her point of view, and all of the things that we don't even know yet. So stick around, because it's going to get even more dicier. And I can't imagine how we're going to feel when we know more information that's going on behind the scenes to this case.
Yeah, the money is, donations are pouring in like crazy. Every time I refresh this page, every few seconds, it just went up again. This is outstanding, folks. Thank you for your donations. We're actually now at 672. 672 is the new total right now. This is awesome. This is great. And I put the wrong number in again. I wrote 627 again. I'll get it right. 672. This is I know that we've heard back from through other folks, Mike Crawford and also I think I was Courtney Healy in the chat in a previous show, that Kelsey was watching some of those shows, and that the family is extremely grateful for these donations that have been rolling in. $672 right now is the total. I want to say something too, that when we've done 4 fundraisers on this program. 3 of them have been solo shows, meaning Kelsey Fitzsimmons only. When we did the one on October 11th, the Defense GiveSendGo fund was at $18,478. $18,000 between this show and then multiple other donations that have come in the days and weeks since. That GiveSendGo is now almost $36,000. So in about just under a month, October 11th
almost
to November
doubled.
1st. Yeah, that's
amazing.
incredible. Absolutely. And that's absolutely incredible right there. That is. And I just want to make sure this super chat is for me, but we prefer this to go to Defense Fund, GiveSendGo. For any reason that's an inadvertent donation to me, let me know. We'll get that repurposed over to Kelsey today. Just make sure any donations, don't send them as super chats. If that is your intent, if you intend to donate to Kelsey, please go to the link pinned to the top of the description. But if that's a super chat for me, I do thank you for that. But just let me know if that needs to go to Kelsey's GiveSendGo, and I'll make sure that gets repurposed as well. Thank you so much.
And Mazza, I'd love to share. I don't know if you heard the responses back on the family court matter. I don't know if you'd want me to touch on that. I do have some updates since the last time.
Yes.
So basically, we heard back. I watched it on Melanie's show. She went over the family court that by stipulation. What they have decided is to put $50,000. So remember how she was selling her home and he wanted to attach a big number for 18 years of child support to be prepaid. So basically what they have stipulated to is that they're going to put $50,000 into an escrow account, which the attorney will disperse. Because she's not currently working, the minimum child support weekly that's due for Massachusetts, it's $12 a week. So every month from that $50,000, $48 will be sent to Justin for child support. And things like, if there's any expenses over $250 in medical bills, that'll get dispersed. But, and that's, at least, at this point, it's being done in a gradual manner. Obviously, it can be reassessed, once her circumstances change. But I thought that was a good update because last time we were looking at it that he was going after a lot, the proceeds of her home, but now it's only going to be the $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and he wanted her full income every year for 18 years. It was absolutely insane, the demand he put in there. It would have been, if she worked full-time 52 weeks a year at, was it $15 an hour? That's the amount he wanted. I have a lawyer as a mod, and there's no way anyone is going to give her that.
No.
But he lost a change of venue. I think that's probably a good thing.
Yes.
Because he's again, online rumors, I don't know, but
yes,
he's in some way connected to the courthouse. There's some things in the other jurisdiction.
Right, because he moved. So basically what they were trying to show is that before all this happened, he had moved his voter registration to another county, all his addresses. So they are keeping it in Essex County where the child was born and where Kelsey, her residence is. We lost Mazza.
I just gotta step away for 2 seconds. I'm gonna make it. I'm just gonna put a donation through. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Baker. Sorry.
No, I was about to say, well, you run the show.
I'll take it from here, Mazza. If you need a bathroom break, do it now, babe. But I mean, at least hopefully things continue to go in the right direction. I don't know if you guys got to see, which the two attorneys outside of court, Bradel, and then the family court attorney. I mean, they're very hopeful that they were going to come up with a resolution. And by doing these things by stipulation, they're not leaving it up to the courts to decide. They're mutually agreeing to these things. So, yeah.
Yeah, which goes back to another issue that this case has, which is Justin and his family, in my opinion, being unreasonable and doing things that are shady like that, trying to take the money from her home sale and just automatically assuming that it would go to him, that he has custody when he doesn't have custody. Those things, to me, I just wish they could step back and think. All of this stuff is being broadcasted on TV, online, it's out there. So when that baby grows up, he's going to know exactly the type of stunts that his father and his grandparents or whatever are trying to pull. And how is that going to affect your son? Whatever beef you have with Kelsey, for whatever reason, maybe take it back and realize this is about your son and your son's well-being, and he's going to see these things. So maybe try and do it a little less personal. Like, that's my suggestion.
But is it? That's the question. Is it about your son and your son's well-being?
It's not.
And that's where it gets ugly. Anyone who has been through a divorce, anyone who have had to share kids, it's never about the kids when you're in court. It's always because I'm going to fight that dragon. And to me, this is just, I said it in the beginning, there's not much about the kid in all of this.
No.
This mother has been without her son for how many weeks, months now? Almost 3 months.
Yeah, so I believe this happened June 30th. So we're now at November 1st. So it's been exactly 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. And he's not even a year old.
Right.
It's almost half his life he's been without his mother. And again, you can be an asshole to. One of the things I would say me and my ex-wife were good at, we didn't withhold the kids from the grandparents. We didn't like each other. We didn't need each other. But the grandparents had a right for the kids. If you want to hurt Kelsey and you want to use your kid, well, you're an asshole, but men and women do that. But taking him away from his entire family, 50% of his blood, is such a monumental. It's not my channel. I won't say them. It's a very selfish thing to do. It's a very selfish thing to do. And this is, I understand it in a divorce situation. I'm trying to hurt my partner. We all do that when we break up. We want to get even. We want to get revenge. We want to do all of that. But this is something else. You have a child. That's one of the things that you have to learn when you break up, especially with such a little kid. No matter if, as now my daughter had her son, and we were talking about her mom and I, we broke up really, really early after we had 2 kids. And I said, we would never have been good parents together. I feel we were adequate parents. We'll never be great parents. We don't feel that ever as parents. We would never have been good. We would have ruined your life if we stayed together and tried to do we have to stick it out for the kids. But you're hurting your kids in this way. You are that poor little boy. It's just.
And now he's also somebody mentioned it in the chat. So there's also an issue with the baptism of this child. So he wants to go ahead, and knowing that this was so important to her, they had picked out her sister as the godparent, godmother. They now are going to go ahead with this baptism, and the sister is allowed to attend, but she will not be the godmother of that child. So again, this is in that latest family court. And they stipulated that at least it's going to be recorded and someone's going to send her a video of it. But again, these little milestones that this child is going through, these things that are important to Kelsey, she's now not able to be a part of. Can you imagine the pain and suffering that it breaks my heart?
Have they agreed on religion?
I believe the religion's not the issue. It was more of who the godparents, and that it's going to happen. Like they're doing it very soon.
Because we could had a Daybell Vallow case where, hey, we're going to change the kids' religions because they're from Serbia, his family, so they're probably Orthodox Christian. So that could be something with that. But I'm glad it's not something like that, because that could be some lifelong struggle you can have with that.
Well, public service announcement to Justin. You don't own the godparents of eternity. She can have a godparent and you can have a godparent. So whatever thing you're trying to pull, good for you. It's ridiculous. She can still have her sister as her godparent to her son. It's not doing anything but making you look petty and ridiculous, and making everyone understand that you're not really that concerned about your son. It's mainly just trying to throw rocks when someone's already down. Like, how much more down could she be? And this is the type of thing you're trying to pull. You're gross. You're disgusting. And I will stand by that.
And it's not like there's a time expiration on when you baptize your child either. People do it when the kid's 2, 4 years, 5 years old. It's just they never got around to it. So it's not like they he couldn't side table this to, while all this is being worked out. He's saying, I'm doing this now and it's on his terms. So it makes him look bad.
Yep.
And and the fact that and purposely to hurt her, because she will not be able to be a part of it. So that just doesn't seem like, this is for the well-being of the child. This isn't something the child needs. This is something that there's no time limit on when you baptize your child. So.
And they are going to go to court proceedings. And I have news for them. That kind of stuff isn't going to make them look good to the judge. It's just not. So pick your battles for picking the wrong ones. And you're showing yourself. You really are showing yourself.
And again, that to me, someone has helped this guy, because he write this very perfect, if you can call it the perfect affidavit about, she did this and that and this, and everything just hits how an affidavit must be read. And now he's doing all of these dumb things. He comes off greedy. I want all your house proceeds put in escrow, so I'm sure I get my child support. I want to get this kid baptized soon. I don't know what the tradition is. In Denmark, it's normally 6 months, but like my mom had the big C, so we moved it up with my niece. It was after 2 months, just so she had a chance to be there. But you can slide it. I'm pretty sure that somewhere in the Bible says God forgives you as long as you believe in Him. So if you wait 3 months, I'm pretty sure the big guy's saying, "Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, you can come in anyway."
Yeah,
right. And even, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, just saying I find it ironic that this is all about a baptism. Well, maybe we look into the scriptures on how we treat people. Just a thought.
True.
Yeah.
And never mind the fact, too, that all these things that he's doing, he's assuming that he has custody and it's never going to change. A lot of these actions aren't somebody who's like, oh, he's very confident in everything, all the plans he set forth to be asking for child support ahead of time when typical moms don't get, normal moms don't get this kind of thing. So, so it's like, it's almost like he's anticipating a win, that he's going to have full custody for the next 18 years. Usually family courts, as I mentioned in the previous stream, are trying to reunify the parents. Even, mothers that have fallen on bad times, have gotten into drugs and things like that. There's usually a plan for reunification because the child should be with its mother and father. But, to just say I'm taking custody, taking all these actions, assuming this child is going to be his forever. And that's what's scary, because he's pretty confident in that.
Yeah. Very ballsy. Having worked for DCF, that's not how it works. And, like it or not, the mom gets treatment. Her kid, they have a special bond, and there's no reason that should be completely taken away. So it's very ballsy that he thinks he's already has custody. It's adorable, actually, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I did see that article that Melanie Little talked about as well, where she mentioned that and talked about how that was, that the parents knew exactly what they needed to do and how to do it, that they had this background in this kind of stuff, which was very very alarming to read, that's for sure. So I have seen that, Sumo, for sure. That's concerning, that to say the least, that that's all believed to have been accurate, and that's what they did. That's insane. Alicia, that information's in the description of the video. If you go to the description, you'll see a tweet by Galama Suze that you can go to for that. So, yep. All right. And yes, we're getting in a lot of donations here today. We're at $782 most recently. And that awesome. Continues to grow. We'll get another tally here in a few minutes. Bia, did you want to continue? Sorry, I just have to do something for a minute. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll get sidetracked over here.
Don't worry, I got you. The other thing, what I was going to mention is, we have to just continue speaking up about this, because these cases and the awareness, Karen Read trial was almost like a test run for us. Us supporters out here, the YouTubers, we now kind of have an action plan. And, luckily we know exactly what we need to do to help her, to move this, to get her the support that she needs. So, what do you think about that, Lauren?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Not only is she having to sell her home that she worked so hard to make a home, you have Justin trying to take it from her when he has absolutely no right to that. So you have that battle. You have her having to sacrifice that to pay for her attorneys, but then she's going to need experts if this goes to trial, just like Karen did. So any of these type of fundraisers is going to help bring in those experts that Karen needed as well. These fundraisers, no matter how much you give, every single penny is put to good use, and it helps bring justice and truth. And that's what we're here for, is Kelsey and speaking out for her when she can't speak right now.
Quick just message to the chat. The question just came in. Can we write a comment that it's from Mazza's fundraiser? Is it different than Karen's? So this GiveSendGo does not allow for a comment to come through. It also doesn't show the name of the donation or the amount of the donation. So what we do differently than the Karen Reed fundraisers is we just take the total at the beginning of the show, and we just count regardless of what you donate or what you write, it won't appear. So we just count every donation that comes in while we're live, even if it may or may not actually be because of the show. But yeah, that's how we do it differently. Court wrote, and Court's connected to Kelsey as well. Did everyone see the Lawyers Weekly article on Kelsey Fitzsimmons? In fact, I wanted to talk about that on tonight's show as well, which is right here. I got the PDF on that right here. So this is the Massachusetts lawyer. Let me enhance the visual on this. This is at one. There we go. I'm going to read this through, and what we can do is stop every so often and read a little bit and discuss it a little bit.
Cup of coffee. I'll just pop off.
Okay, Broken Baker's out.
Coffee. No, I'm not out.
Are you coming back?
I'm getting a cup of coffee. I'll just so you know why I'm off.
This is not a so long farewell. Okay, we're good. We'll have you back. All right.
He needs a coffee break.
Yep. Let me make sure I get the right layout back here. Let's see. Let me remove this. Go to this.
If you need help reading, Mazza, we can help too. So whatever you need,
Thank you.
we're here for you. No problem.
The biggest thing I'm having trouble with right now is getting back. There we go. All right, let's get this back on. There it is. All right, now we're back in business. I'll put my face here. I'll put Broken Baker up at the top. All right, there we go. All right, so this is Britt Happens is with us. Britt, what's going on?
Oh, hey. Can everybody hear me okay?
Perfectly. Loud and clear.
Hi.
Hello.
Too loud?
All right. No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Maybe a pinch too loud, but you're perfectly fine. No problem. Unless they start complaining in the chat, I'll notify you, but you should be fine.
Here we go.
All right. So let's talk about this. This is this was brought up by Court in the chat. This is the Massachusetts Lawyer Weekly. So we'll zip through a little bit of this, and then we'll come back around and we'll talk with everybody else. So the unnecessary, unjust incarceration of Officer Fitzsimmons by Massachusetts Lawyers Weekly by Gail Sullivan. The right of North Andover police officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons to be free on bail or otherwise is the paradigmatic fundamental right of a citizen of the United States. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution and Arts 1, 10, and 12 of the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights establish a fundamental right to liberty and freedom from physical restraint that cannot be curtailed without due process of law. When a court limits an individual's fundamental right to freedom in furtherance of a compelling government interest, it must utilize the least restrictive means available to do so. Fitzsimmons has had a lot to deal with during the past year. She stood before the Essex Superior Court in September, indicted by a grand jury. In February, she gave birth to a child. A short time later, she was diagnosed with, she didn't claim she had it, she was diagnosed with postpartum depression. In June, she was shot in the chest by another officer. The gunshot that miraculously did not kill her required that she be med-flighted to Mass General, where she spent about 60 days undergoing numerous surgeries. At a recent pretrial hearing in Superior Court, the trial court motion judge was informed that Fitzsimmons could not blow into a scram device without experiencing excruciating pain. The court had ordered the device to be utilized to monitor Fitzsimmons' use of alcohol. Fitzsimmons' statement to the court that blowing into the device caused her excruciating pain was supported by her probation officer and by the documented fact that her ribs had been broken by a bullet that had penetrated her chest. Diligently, attorney Tim Bradle presented the court with affidavits, reports, medical notices, and a surgeon's letter. Not wishing to cause her pain, the judge revoked the young woman's bail and put her in jail. Before we continue on, does anybody have any comment on what we've just
that that's disgusting. Like, it makes me mad every time I read it, hear about it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, it's sickening. Absolutely sickening that this is what's gone on. And this is what gets me back to the point that what medical information was even needed when they already knew these things. Like, this judge knew up front
They had it.
that this, that this woman was shot. 100%. 100%. And it's maddening that they just ignore all of this all the time and pretend like it's not a concern. It's not an issue. It's nothing to see here. She was shot. How do you expect? I mean, come on. It's like I always say, if someone, it's like, I don't know. It's I always compare it to asking someone that's confined to a wheelchair to stand up and walk. They can't physically do that. And you're going to criminally penalize them for that. That's the outrageousness that we're dealing with here. I like
And the fact that the fact that the probation officer actually went up and testified to confirming to the judge that he had observed her being in pain. So this wasn't, so again, collaborating the story, and she just goes and revokes a bail when that's not why they were there. They were there for accommodations, not a bail revocation.
Yeah, and she wouldn't even give any weight to his emails or him being in court when she deals with this man and his department all the time. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So
new total $837. $1,000 is real for tonight's show, I believe. We will see.
Wonderful.
Yep, and we got Sally Port's $10 donation was also added. I added that on her behalf. I also matched that, so $20 total to Kelsey tonight on that on behalf of Sally Port. Yep, I almost said it wrong. Because really Sally Port. Yeah.
So
yes, that.
These injuries of Kelsey's were already in the record, and I was listening on my drive home from work tonight to you guys a little bit, so I have some context of what's been going on. I didn't want to make sure I was just, bull in a china shop running in blind. And I heard you guys talking about, wanting to see some compassion from the judge, but, even just an impartial judge, compassion aside, would look at this and not behave as though she had absolutely no idea of Kelsey's injuries. And this was maddening for several reasons to me. So firstly, we have Kelsey's injuries, okay? So that's where this angle about the ADA comes in Tim Bradle's appeal. But also, just like what was touched upon in what we were reading, there was an outright violation of Kelsey's due process rights, because she should have had, if there was an alleged violation of her bail, she should have had a separate hearing to go over what the violation was and whether it surmounts to the necessity for revocation of that bond. So the sua sponte decision to revoke her bail based upon her just asking, Your Honor, may I please be tested for alcohol in a different way, was completely sickening to me. That's not impartiality. That's not judicial, in my opinion. And I hope that the full panel on the SJC, especially with what was published this week in the journal and all that considered, I hope that they lend an ear to Tim Bradle on this.
And that's actually the worst part, is that the Supreme single judge just said, yeah, that'll be fine. There was nothing in it. Again, they only read the document, so they can't hear her. I really hope they hear that video, because that video, to me, showed someone who wasn't in the right mind frame when she was doing her ruling from the bench. And can I just say, we were talking about this spreading awareness and stuff. While I was making my coffee, I just turned on YouTube and I saw something called said Kelsey Fitzsimmons. I thought, oh, who's this? And there was someone who just found the case and is going to share it with her audience now.
Awesome.
And this is, again, just because you can't help with monetary, you can share, and then maybe your favorite creator out there is saying, well, Leslie is always sitting there talking about that Fitzsimmons. Maybe I'll spend 5 minutes on it. And I went in her chat and said, if you need documents, I think I have most of them, because she was, I can't find them. So reach out, because that's one thing we have learned. When we work together, we are a powerhouse. We are a powerhouse. You wonderful people in chat, the creators, people like Mazza, who invites people to come here. Look, less than $100 away. And what did Mazza say before with the, oh, you can't put my name? He doesn't want the recognition. He just wants Kelsey to have the help. And we have to salute him for that, because he spends his time on this, and I really appreciate that he's so nice that he lets me sit and ramble on his show about it.
Yeah. We love you, man. No, you've been great, Broken Banker. We love you, man. You've contributed a lot to multiple different causes. Besides Karen, besides Kelsey as well, you've talked about a lot of other things that have gone on, and we appreciate your contributions. And I enjoyed being on your show last. I think we did a show together Christmas time last year. I think
you were one of my 13 for Christmas.
Yeah, right. The guest content creators or whatever. That was awesome. No, it's good. We're all coming together and we're raising awareness and just trying to raise money for Kelsey as well. And $912 tonight. That's fantastic. That's close to $1,000, which is huge. I mean, if we did a fundraiser and it always raised, a couple hundred or $1,000 a show, that's great contribution. It's just adding to the total every single time, which is very important. And it just helps Kelsey too, because she's gonna have an uphill battle legally and and medically as well. But we're here to support her and raise awareness. And I think everybody here is intent on doing that as well. And Adam Tepper, you might want to adjust your camera before I put you. There you go, Adam. You're good. Attorney Adam Tepper is joining us. Is it Tepper or Tepper? Do I always say Tepper by mistake? It's Tepper, isn't it?
Yes, it is Tepper, but
I always say it wrong. I always instinctively want to say Tepper. I know an attorney. His name is Alan Jackson, and he would say Deaver instead of Dever, and I'm just I'm being like Alan Jackson today. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Hi, Adam.
Hey, Bia, how are you?
Good. How are you? Long time no see.
Yeah,
you've been busy, boy.
October was a rough month, but
oh, sorry to hear.
We do what we have to do.
From an attorney's perspective, Adam, you're looking at all this, and the Massachusetts Lawyer Weekly, they just ripped into the judge in this whole process. Do you see any lawful justification why Kelsey Fitzsimmons should have to do any kind of blood alcohol test at all?
No. Well, for the blood alcohol test, there are plenty of other alternatives for that other than just doing the breathalyzer. She can do the piss test. They can draw blood work at the lab. There's, I've even had clients that have done blood work in the lab for alcohol and other drugs, after a certain amount of time, on a regular schedule. There's absolutely no need, knowing that she got shot, knowing that her ribs and lungs are affected, for you to say that that is the only option you have. And then when she can't do it, to try to accuse her of being willful, and the fact that she didn't do it's a violation of her probationary terms, etc. You see criminal defendants and real criminal defendants all the time, willfully violating court orders. I mean, even in my world, primarily as an animal attorney and living in the civil court, there are people who willfully and knowingly violate court orders, and you've got to file complaints for contempt. You've got to file sanctions. Here, there's no willful violation. And to me, the judge is abusing discretion so much by not giving any other alternatives. If you have a problem with the fact that you think she is, doing this on purpose and she can't do a breathalyzer, then order blood work. order a
Yeah.
urine test. The
Yeah.
fact that she didn't even offer these and she's just like, no, you have to go sit in prison, to me is an outreach that sets a really bad precedent and a really bad standard for criminal defendants across the board. When you say it's either one or nothing. And one of the standards that we live in court all the time, whether it's civil or criminal, is something that revolves around the term absolutely necessary. What is absolutely necessary? How do you define necessary? And when we're in the court, we argue a United States Supreme Court ruling that once said that less drastic measures have to be at least examined and tried out before you get to that this is absolutely necessary standard that you're in. So you didn't have her try blood work. You didn't have her try a urine test. You had her try a breathalyzer, which medically speaking, she cannot do. So if you're talking about absolutely necessary, where you're going to claim that she's a risk to the public, you fail on your face because you didn't try the less drastic measures first.
Right.
But Adam,
That's
oops, sorry. I was going to say, but Adam,
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
just help us clarify for us, the panel and the chat, why, if this wasn't a DUI case, what kind of gives the judge this authority to say you also need to be alcohol monitored? Why can't it just be you're being detained or under house arrest? Why do you think that she added this other layer of having to have her alcohol be monitored?
I think, and I don't know, I'm just speculating with you guys. But considering the fact that she's suffering from postpartum depression and, obviously we don't know what her husband has told prosecutors, has told the court. Obviously we know there's a lot of underlying drama there. I would assume it's because they might have something where they're pushing information like she might be on substances, and that's leading to extra issues here in terms of safety, that if she's suffering from postpartum depression, she might be drinking alcohol at home. I thought I did read something that they accused her of
But that's a single thing in the affidavit saying that 3 weeks before they were at a party where she was drunk and she roughhoused him and said something like, I'm gonna go on a big trip with the kid or something like that. And she was cleared of postpartum. That's the thing. She was cleared to return to police work. There's so many of these things where you're saying,
Yes.
yeah, it seems like someone sat him down and gave him, these are the statutes you need to hit to get her put or to have your kid, and he just wrote it. It's I don't know if you read the affidavit, but it's one of those, it lines up perfectly with the statute that you need to hit and say all the right words. And it's just the only incidents where there's any substance abuse is at a bachelorette party. She roughhouses him and then turns instantly normal after.
Yeah, it's a bachelorette party. I'd like anyone to tell me who didn't drink on their bachelorette party.
Yeah, and it's her own bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Well, and let me say this. This is what indicates to me that this judge is, even though I don't think she should be, but she is using allegations from the family court to make calls in the criminal case, even though they are two completely separate legal proceedings. It seems to me that there are things going on in family court that the judge is taking into consideration for criminal court. And that seems out of bounds to me.
I agree with you, Britt. And let me tell you, I absolutely hate family and probate court. It is, how do I say this without sounding really bad as an attorney? They don't care about following the rules of the court a lot in family court. They don't care about the rules of evidence. my few cases that I have had where I've had to go into family and probate court, it doesn't matter if something's hearsay. It doesn't matter if something is in an admissible form. They just, because a lot of times, especially in divorce cases, there's no lawyers involved. It's just party and party with a mediator, that they allow things to come out and on the record in family and probate court that otherwise wouldn't necessarily be allowed, let's say, in the superior court. And, you know, that's one of my practices. I'm in the superior court a lot in my practice, whether it's criminal or civil. And I love the stability in the following the rules of civil procedure, following the rules of evidence, and following the rules of criminal procedure. And you just don't get that added, we can do whatever we want feeling that you
Right.
get in family and probate court. So the fact that the superior court here is taking everything on its face from family and probate court is, to me at least, it's a red flag in and of itself. I mean, I have to caveat everything I say that I'm a little biased because I went to law school with Kelsey. So my personal experiences with her, I don't have anything bad to say about her. They were never below the bar. They were never red flag. They were never anything that would even remotely give me anything bad to say about her. And so you couple that with knowing that you have somebody who is a police officer, you have somebody that was enrolled in law school, and then you can add the added layers here. And just taking into consideration, she made allegations of sexual abuse against her chief. Let's not pretend that that stuff didn't happen. And then everything that happened after that fact, and then she was cleared, and that she returned, and then all of a sudden everything goes south.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at the totality of the circumstances, which is what we do in court all the time, it just doesn't add up. And now you have yet another judge that is just allowing things to happen. And she's like, yep, I'm agreeing. We're going to screw people over. I mean, if it was on the other side, let's say that she was a police officer and she shot somebody that wasn't a police officer, that department would not let her as an officer sit in a prison with other prisoners. But because she made allegations against the department and it was no body cams, he said, she said, they're letting her sit in a prison with essentially could be people she arrested, and you're endangering her life. So I don't, from a legal and a personal perspective, I don't see anything about this situation that's even remotely correct. And, you know, obviously as an attorney, our hands are tied sometimes, but I have full faith that Tim Bradle and his team are going to throw punches when they need to throw punches and get the truth to come out, and justice will prevail here, because this is absolutely ridiculous on multiple levels.
Was it
Yeah,
Kelsey or was it someone else who made those allegations? Yeah, okay.
Court's saying that a few other officers they were female officers. I know one of them 2 or 3 years ago was actually featured in an article that was online in a Google search you can look up. But I found that article. But yeah, there was some few allegations that went on in that police department against that chief.
Someone asked a good question in the chat about union support for Kelsey. I mean, if you look at how far the union went to stand with Michael Proctor.
Great point.
I would expect to see, something from them. And here's Kelsey with Tim Bradle, which he's an excellent attorney, don't get me wrong, but I would have expected for there to be maybe a union funded litigator.
That's a great point you're making, Britt. I mean, you think that regardless of attorney that's been hired, that she would have an opportunity to essentially have that union representation, no different than how Michael Proctor did. And that would be something that would be huge for her. We got a breaking total here. Let me get Adam back up on stage. There he is. The new total is $1,337. This is fantastic, folks. Great work out there, everybody. Fantastic. Adam's back in the show as well. And no, Bree, you make a great point. Union-funded representation as well. I mean, that's a great argument. Like we said, we've just seen what Michael Proctor had for representation. This is regardless of circumstance until they found out more about him and dropped him, but still, to a degree, that union was willing to represent him.
And maybe Court can speak to this. I have heard that the union is now getting involved. If that is accurate, maybe she can speak to that if she knows.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I mean, the
I'll
union
monitor.
knew about Proctor's the first wave of Proctor messages. Okay, I'm not even going to repeat it. We all know what he said about Karen, about Attorney David Yannetti. So, okay, excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Court.
yeah, but that's for disciplinary. But
Yeah.
you know, and yes, the union has until last week basically stood with Michael Proctor. So I would expect for there to be, you know, some union support for Kelsey as well.
Yeah, first I want to apologize to Court if I said anything that was wrong. I'm just going based on what people have given me to read. So if I misinterpreted things, I apologize. But as far as sticking up for people and what their like jobs and responsibilities are, that's one of the downsides to unions. Like their requirement is to protect their members. So obviously you're going to have some bad members that they have to protect. But in most unions and police unions too, if that conduct is determined to be completely egregious, that's when they are allowed under their bylaws to, step back. So they had a duty to protect Proctor until it all started to come out that Proctor's texts, go back years far beyond Karen and that he was doing things as a police officer you shouldn't be doing. So, obviously the police union, according to Court, what she just said is handling disciplinary hearing. In my opinion, they should be handling her criminal case too. However, if they're charging her criminally, it goes beyond her job.
Yeah.
So the union's not necessarily going to provide the attorney or to pay her legal expenses, but I'm sure that the police union is paying very close attention to it and what's happening, as to decide, once it becomes clearer that she didn't do anything wrong, that's going to help her in the area of, keeping her job and making sure that she's not disciplined for something that's not correct.
Yeah.
Sure. And may I also add, while we're talking about representation for her, how much do we love Julie Hess?
We love her.
I had such a great first impression seeing her in that after that family hearing. She is a hoth, a rock star. She is gonna do great. I have so much confidence now in this family probate court case. Now that I've gotten to hear from, pardon my dogs. Now that I've gotten to hear from Julie. I mean, she's going to be another hero for us to praise in the coming months.
But there's a little caveat to that, because Bradley is also a great lawyer. But who is he a lawyer? Who's the judge he's in front of? Just go back. Rosemary Scapiccio is one of my absolute favorites out of Massachusetts. I loved her in the Karen Tyler case. Very, very unrecognized, because she was the lawyer for one of the McAlberts, and she's fighting Judge Corrupt, and she's beating into a pillow every time she's at a meeting. She kicking the can. So it's very dependent on who they get to argue in front of. But she seems very competent. There's a lot of competent lawyers in Massachusetts. I have to say, but there's a lot of
Thank
shitty
God.
judges.
Yeah, we got a lot of great. I was impressed with Julia right off the bat. She's very tough, and even the way she was answering the questions, Justice Serve TV was out there asking a lot of questions, and she was very very tough, very stern as well. I think she's just someone that is not going to be pushed around, is not going to be told what's what. She seems very mentally in depth and intelligent, and knows every in and out of the whole thing, which is what I got from her. And she seems very much adept as knowing what to do in this situation. And I think that this is going to be incredible. Some people had actually asked why Bradel was not sitting at the desk that day. That's family and probate court. So in that particular situation, I think he's more of like advisory in that particular situation, if I'm not mistaken. And then it's going to be Attorney Hess that's in the primary position there as representation for that matter. So it's kind of difference between criminal court and probate court. If I'm wrong about anything, Adam, let me know.
That's the same when
divorce and child custody and family probate standing orders are very, very different than criminal. So I'm sure Brett is involved, but he is definitely taking second chair and rising from behind, because family and probate court get convoluted very quickly. You need to know what your Julie's on top of the game for sure.
That's the same when Krusty Panties says, "Why isn't David Yannetti on Karen Reed's team anymore?" I know why. I've heard the rumors. Because he's a criminal lawyer, you absolute pillar. I love that. Crust and Twist Law LLC is the best law firm on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wendy Murphy has, some
hot takes.
Some real bombs that she has dropped that might put her up there with KP.
So we got a new total coming in here. We're closing in on 1,400 quick. 1,377 is our new total, ladies and gentlemen. Great work. Yeah, that's.
I think we can do 1,500. I think we can do it.
I know, absolutely. I was going to end the show at 8 o'clock tonight, but I'm not doing that. I wanted to watch the World Series. Instead, I'm going to put it on my phone right to the left of this desk here. I'm going to have the World Series on so I can monitor it. And I'm probably going to push this show to about 9. If you guys are down for 9 o'clock, if you guys can't make it broken, I understand. But we're bringing in some good money.
We're sneaking up at 1 a.m. So I think I'll try and hit my head on the pillow before way too late. So I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, Mazza, Court is saying, can we cover Lawyers Weekly for Kelsey? She is here and wants to hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to.
Oh,
yeah, we did that.
And yes.
Yeah, we can do that. And I'm just going to. Yeah, I'll get that fired up in just a second because we did the first chapter. We'll finish that up. And Kelsey's here till 9:15. So we'll roll. I'm going to get the World Series fired up on my phone. And as big of a sports nut as I am.
Do you want us to go around and give her a message?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can lead up, Bia. Go right ahead.
All right. Well, Kelsey, we're with you. We from what we know about the story, we have your back, and we just hope that you get through this. Please stay strong, and hopefully you'll get to hold your baby soon. And, Massachusetts has you.
Absolutely. We'll go left to right. I'll go last. So we'll go left to right, then go down. So we'll go Lauren, Adam, Britt, and Broken.
Hey, Kelsey, we are here for you. We believe you. We support you. You're a warrior. You got this. There will be a day very soon where you're going to tell your story, and we can't help but await that. And we are looking forward to it. And if we can do anything to get this out, it is already gaining steam. More people are talking about your case. And so anything that we can do, we got you, girl.
Perfect. Adam.
Hey, Kelsey, Adam here. you know, I've been talking to our classmates at MSL, and I can speak for them, from all of us. We love you. We're praying for you. We want justice. Stay strong in there, because justice will prevail, and you will be back with your baby and out of jail, and the truth will be exposed soon. So just stay strong. We're with you. We're here. And whatever we can do for you, we will.
Absolutely. Britt?
All right. Hey, Kelsey. I'm Britt. I'm from Florida. I have been following your case for a while, and boy, what a backfire, huh? I hope that you just remember that all the pain that you're going through right now is temporary. I don't know how long it will last, but I know that it will not be forever. We are standing behind you, and I hope that you just stay strong and keep pissing them off, because it's working. It's working very, very well.
Absolutely. And Broken Baker, I think you're about to leave the show in moments. I'll just let you have a hello to Kelsey
I'll do the
farewell.
full rundown. Kelsey, I will be the European representation on this tour tonight. You have a great community here that'll spread the word, who will try and help as much as they can, because they don't believe that you're being treated right, and neither do we, and neither do I. But sadly, you're not the first to be railroaded, but luckily you have a great support system. It seems like your family is a good family in situations like that. And you are very lucky that you came right in the back end of a big movement that kind of rolled over to your movement. And thank you so much, Mazza, for having me on. Thank you so much, everyone who have contributed. Another 1,000+ stream is amazing, and it'll go to make a little bit of a difference in Kelsey's case. And hopefully she'll be out holding that kid, snuggling up with him, because that's the thing we forget. It's not that much about Kelsey and Justin. It's about that poor little kid who's missing his mom, I am sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But 1 a.m. Denmark time. Love y'all. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Broken Baker.
Good to see you,
Hi, Broken Baker.
See
Thank you for
you.
coming on our program tonight. We appreciate
Always.
it having you here, my man.
See you later.
Kelly Reed says good night as well, as everyone does. All right, Broken Baker, ladies and gentlemen, we thank him for joining us here tonight. Kelsey says, from course says, Kelsey loves you all. She says, thanks so much. Excellent, excellent.
We love you right back.
Yes, 100%. And I'm honored to have everybody on the show. It's coming out. It's I'll be honest, when I ask people if they want to come on this show, it's never a hesitation. It's unless there's might be a time confliction there, here or there, but everybody's always willing to come on this show and contribute and help out in any way they can to add dialogue via Lauren, Adam, Britt, Broken Baker, others that have joined this show as well. Nan Gallagher, Mike Crawford, in recent weeks have all come on this show, contributed to raising funds for Kelsey. And Kelsey, we're going to continue to do what we do. And I think Broken Baker made a great comment. I think this is really a rollover movement from Karen Reed. So many of us had contributed to Karen Reed and helped her for 2 years. And for a lot of us, I think we kind of got in a rhythm of helping Karen so much that when it ended, it was kind of like, well, what now? And, you know, we want to help out people. And we kind of found that we could be very effective in raising funds for Karen, helping her out. And while we were thankful it was over, you know, I asked myself as well, like, is there anybody else I should be helping? And what can we do? And this case and matter caught my attention very, very deeply. And I felt that this would be a good matter to support and raise funds. And I think this is extremely important to help you. And I see Kelly Reed here, Karen's cousin, saying, we love you, Mazza, a fierce and loyal warrior for justice. Thank you, Kelly, for that. And I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. These people have been, they not only follow Karen Reed's cases, but a lot of them have followed Sandra Birchmore, just on Root, Enrique Delgado Garcia, and many other cases that have gone on in and outside of Massachusetts. There's an amazing plethora of people that are international outside of the United States that followed Karen Reed, that Kelsey are also following your case, Broken Baker among them as well. And it's just great that so many people can come together so quickly to immediately help and participate. We talked about how much money the GiveSendGo was at the start of the October 11th episode. The GiveSendGo is at $18,000. As of this moment, that GiveSendGo, less than 1 month later, and this is regardless of this show's participation in it, the people that participated in it or not, all purpose, that GiveSendGo between this show and many other shows and other donators is now over $36,000 as of this moment, which is almost doubled in less than a month. For
Fantastic.
one that was $2,000, $4,000 a blink of an eye ago, has now already raised up to $36,000, and that's incredible right now. It's $36,545 right now, which gets us our new total of this show, which is $1,487 that has been raised for Kelsey's defense fund and GiveSendGo as of tonight, which is incredible. Another $1,000 plus episode, and this is for everybody out there that cares about Kelsey. This is showing how many people care about you, Kelsey, want to help you, want to fight for you, want to give you the best opportunity legally, medically, and just across the board. $1,487 from people in this program donating in about a 2-hour period, which is an amazing amount. And let me just see how much we've raised through MazzaMedia alone. So let's see, off this show. So we did one triple fundraiser for Mike and Aiden, which was $895 for Kelsey on that night. And then we did 3 more. So October 11th, October 19th, and today, right now, from people that have tuned into this program through 4 fundraisers for Kelsey, the total that we have contributed together towards the GiveSendGo is $9,118 overall.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
We're
amazing.
gonna
That's
get Bradle
amazing.
paid.
Yeah.
Get her some experts.
Yeah. And with Julie Hess on board too, that's another great attorney coming in. And I think too, what will be important for Kelsey is just having great representation everywhere across the board, which she has right now. But we never know if she may need an additional attorney down the road either. And this happened with Karen Reed. We don't know how far and how deep this will go. And who knows, in a year from now, will there need to be another attorney added on? And we're giving her an opportunity, if she does need an extra attorney down the road, that she'll have the financial backing to be able to do that. And Kelsey is watching tonight. Debbie Blair is a longtime follower of everything Karen Reed and other things. She currently has 7 attorneys already. So that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, Kelsey has enough on her. Sorry, Mazza.
Go
I
ahead,
was just
go
gonna say, Kelsey has enough. She has enough on her plate, enough to worry about. So if our donations can make any bit of difference to take that a little bit of weight off her shoulders, then that's what we're wanting to do. So any amount is not too small. All of that, a few dollars adds up. So please keep sending the donations. You guys are amazing, and thank you.
Yes, I agree. And Kelly just has said here she donated $20 more and is asking everybody in the chat who can match her. So I always say match or top it. That's what I always say on my. I used to do the 20 for 20. I'd say, can you match me or top me? Either or is fine. Kelly, thank you for your contribution to Kelsey tonight. We appreciate your contribution, everybody's contribution. And again, even if you're unable to donate tonight, share the GiveSendGo. Share that up and get that out there. And we're going to get this read here. This is the Lawyers Weekly. So I'm going to read this piece by piece. We're going to go through it. And because Kelsey wants to hear this, court had said. And we'll continue here. So it is hoped that the SJC considers the moral guidance provided by Justice Brandeis, I hope I'm saying that right, and former Governor Deval Patrick. The scram device ordered by the trial court is certainly not the only way to monitor Fitzsimmons' possible use of alcohol. It is but one of a number of methods that can be utilized for this purpose. Attorney Adam Tieper, who's on this show, said this earlier. A registered phlebotomist, I hope I said that right.
Yep,
Phlebotomist. Thank you, Bia, for the backup. Could be sent to Fitzsimmons' home to test the young officer's blood during appropriate time periods. So there you go. So they've just established. See, I thought maybe she'd have to actually leave and go. Now I'm hearing, based on what the Massachusetts Lawyers Weekly are saying, that they could actually send someone right to her house. A nurse could be sent to her home to conduct tests of her urine for the same purpose. Transdermal alcohol sensors of all kinds could be utilized to transmit the results of Fitzsimmons' alcohol tests to Auckland, New Zealand for about $3 a day. Any one of these methodologies would cost Massachusetts taxpayers far less than sending the 28-year-old depressed new mother to jail. One notes that incarceration of any police officer presents heightened physical danger. That's what Adam had also said. The risk of contracting disease is increased in jail, especially for an individual recently released from Mass General's trauma unit. That's a huge comment there too. Remark there. Postpartum depression is a recognized psychiatric condition. Jail time is harmful to anyone's mental health, but especially to a young female suffering postpartum depression. The now old-fashioned words of Lewis Brandis and Miller versus State of Oregon 208 U.S. 412, I'll skip all that, should be carefully considered. Quote, that woman's physical structure and the performance of maternal functions place her at a disadvantage in the struggle for subsistence is obvious. This is especially true when the burdens of motherhood are upon her. I'll add, she can't even see her kid. Even when they are not, by abundant testimony of the medical fraternity continuance for a long time on her feet at work, repeating this from day to day tends to effects upon the body, effects upon the body, and as healthy mothers are essential to vigorous offspring, the physical well-being of woman becomes an object of public interest and care in order to preserve the strength and vigor of the race. It should be noted, that Justice Brandeis, a moral man, meant the human race, not any particular race. In 2014, Governor Deval Patrick signed, this is a very important part here too, Governor Deval Patrick signed an anti-shackling legislation abolishing the harmful and brutal practice of restraining incarcerated women who are pregnant, in labor, or in the postpartum period with handcuffs, leg irons, and wrist chains. Patrick was quoted as stating that he was astounded to have to do so at, I'm going to miss a good word here. Let me make sure this. Patrick was quoted as stating that he was astonished to have to do so at any point in history. Thought there was a typo, but that's okay. One notes to the fact that the trial court motion judge would not order a GPS monitor be taken off Fitzsimmons' leg for a scheduled surgery. It is hoped that Fitzsimmons' conscientious attorney succeeds in his appeal before the full bench of the Supreme Judicial Court. It is hoped that the SJC considers the moral guidance provided by Justice Brandeis and former Governor Deval Patrick. And that is the write-up from the Massachusetts Lawyer Weekly. And it is a fiery one, and it is an accurate one as well. I don't know who wants to speak on this first.
Well, first of all, I feel that the timing on the release of this was spot on. Just before the full panel of the SJC, hopefully this will be seen by one of them or be mentioned to one of them. I hope it kind of opens their eyes a little bit. And I love that it points out several things. One, Kelsey, yes, her personal safety is threatened on several layers. First of all, she is a law enforcement officer who is in jail right now. So that alone makes a target out of her, right? Secondly, she is missing out on the healthcare that she needs every day that she's incarcerated. So I mean, hopefully she has claims in the future about this, but for right now, you know, her personal recovery is being put aside because she asked to have a different means of alcohol testing.
Yeah.
It's astonishing.
Absurd. absolutely absurd. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. Kelsey is not a danger to the community whatsoever. And that is what bail and bond is here for. And that is why it is used. So it's an injustice. And as you touched on, Britt, I think she has a very strong future ahead of her, including some civil claims. Either way, this works out. So.
I'll go next. So, one of the things that actually, as we're reading through that last part of it, it also mentions the fact that she has open wounds. She has, other things going on in her body aside from the postpartum depression. And now she has wounds. She's in a jail where that's not, the best of places. Let's just put it lightly. And she, and when Deval Patrick is saying, we don't think with women with postpartum should be handcuffed and in this environment. I mean, this was such a strong statement for the lawyers to put out here. I think, wow, I just hope the judge gets to see this, because this is outrageous.
It is. It's insanity. And, I didn't even know about this law. And that's when you look back at this and you say to yourself, well, Governor Deval Patrick had enacted this anti-shackling law. And then you have a governor right now. And I had someone contest me on Twitter recently. What do you think that Governor Maura Healey is going to do about this? Well, enforce the law that Deval Patrick put in, for example? I mean, that just... I sat there and I'm like, well, it reinforces the governor's role or ability to enforce something like this, that you have a woman that this is not a normal set of circumstances. This is postpartum depression. And regardless of whatever went on in that house, it doesn't matter who said what. To some degree, it doesn't even matter what really happened in that house, because at the end of the day, postpartum depression is still at hand here. And that comes before anything else. That's he said, she said. Even though I believe Kelsey and I do not believe the police, regardless, it is still postpartum depression, no matter what the circus. It doesn't matter what they say. The cops can say whatever they want to the judge, whatever they want. But at the end of the day, postpartum depression. Yep. That's my argument.
Postpartum is not a crime.
Yep.
Well, and this reminds me a bit. I don't know how many of you have been following what's been going on with the Robert Devine hearings and his claims about his relationship with Sandra Birchmore, may she rest in peace. But Devine claimed that he was being stalked by Sandra, even though he sent her messages and he called her the day that she was unalived, but that's neither here nor there. But when I heard some of the things that he was saying in these hearings, I was thinking, this is a 53-year-old cop who is stating things that are creating an image in my mind of, whoops, I just kicked my table, in my mind of being afraid of a 4'11" young lady.
Yeah.
And when I see what's going on with Kelsey here, I see Officer Noonan, I see Justin, who, by the way, clearly hates Kelsey more than he loves his own child.
Clearly.
Okay? That's why this is so messy, because he has less regard for what happens to this baby than what he can get out of this situation. He is prioritizing his own gain over the welfare of his own child. But when I see claims people like Justin are making about being afraid, claims that Officer Noonan is making, and how, the court is everything is so Officer Noonan safety centric. How tall is Kelsey? How big is Kelsey? These are trained police officers. This is a trained firefighter who is a big guy, and we're afraid of Kelsey?
Right.
I mean,
Well, Britt, this goes back to what Baker was talking about before he signed off. The fact that if you look at elements of certain crimes, if you look at how to get things done, the affidavit is written in a specific way where you need to hit your bullet points to be able to justify certain actions. And unfortunately, the legal world is no different than anything else. You're coached to say certain things so that these elements are met so you can get certain results. So
buzzwords.
whether it's Kelsey's husband in it with the divorce, whether it's Officer Noonan, whether it's anything to do with all the officers and former officers trying to save their jobs in Sandra Birchmore's hearings in the case, they're going to say certain terms in certain ways that will allow the courts to order what they want them to order, because if you don't say those certain words, you can't meet the element, and the judge will automatically deny what you're asking for or rule opposite you. So, they're probably not afraid, but this is the narrative they're going to go with because this is how they get what they want.
Yeah, and every single one of those motions, they're all self-serving. Anyone can get out there and say whatever they want. There hasn't been a two-party hearing. There has been no trial. So they can say whatever they want. But when the metal hits the road and it comes down to actually having a trial or anything like that, real evidence that is going to be based by facts and proof is going to be shown, and they're going to look like idiots, in my opinion.
I would fully agree with you. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward so much to Kelsey's entire side of the story being out there for the public, because it's going to tie up all these loose ends that we're noticing right now in the Commonwealth's theory, in the theory of other parties. Kelsey's side of the story for me is gonna just drop a bomb on all of this and show exactly how full of shit. I'm sorry, Mazza, I don't know if I'm allowed
to. That's okay. Go right ahead, Brett.
But just how full of it. But just
Swear,
how full
Brett.
of it everybody is. It's so abundantly clear to me.
We
that
see
Justin
it all.
is not afraid of Kelsey.
We see it, as we see it without her story. So when she does get to tell her story, it's going to be more outrageous, because it's very clear that this man does not care about his child. He cares about the monumental money gains that he can try and take, and smearing Kelsey's name. But when that baby grows up, he's going to be able to see all this. This is the internet. This is TV. And he's not going to be 8 months forever. So that's what people need to realize, is that you're hurting your son. If you really cared about your son, you wouldn't be doing it in this manner and not be slimy about it. It's that simple. So I can only imagine what else we don't know yet that Kelsey has yet to tell on her story that will be out there.
Right. And on July 17th, Bradel did release a statement from her that kind of tells her side of the story. Maz, I don't know if you'd want to see something like that, but I can certainly put it in the private chat. But there is her side of the story that was told, based on her words. But I can certainly send that to you in case you want to peek at it.
Yeah, you can send that over right now. Additionally, sorry, Britt, just one quick thing. I apologize completely, Britt, but just one quick thing I wanted to get in. Her friend Megan, who was just on the Young Jerks earlier this past week, had said there's so much more that hasn't come out yet. And I don't know what that could amount to, but that's intense. Britt, I apologize. Please continue.
Oh, no. You're good. I was just gonna remind you. I don't know if you were here at that point, because I know that you and I have both been on a couple of Mazza's fundraising streams, but we did actually go over the July statement from Kelsey in one of the previous streams. But
the one that was on the GiveSendGo, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And there was another that was part of a filing. I don't recall whether it's the same statement or
I think it was
not. It was
similar.
at least very similar.
Yeah.
But yes, and what I see from Justin's behavior, and this is just, I don't have anything to back this. This is just me from a 30,000 foot view looking at all this in totality. I see somebody who was caught in something. I don't know what, but when I look at Justin, I see somebody who was caught trying to get ahead of his own consequences.
Mm.
I'm going to hurt you before you can hurt me. I'm going to take your child before you can take my child from me. I'm going to be one step ahead of you so that, your credibility can be diminished and I get to maintain mine. And that's the best chance that I have moving forward, is to just get as far ahead of this as I can before all the information gets out. It's just what I see.
No, I'm right there with you. It surely appears to be that way.
Yeah, it's that age old adage that the guilty get defensive, and everything that's been done to Kelsey, everything that's been said, are defensive tactics. They're defensive maneuvers to try to, almost in a narcissistic way, to shift the blame, to take eyes off them for what they're doing, for what they did, for all the wrongs they committed, and instead just seeking to throw all the blame onto her so that they can get out of trouble and get ahead of everything. I would fully agree with that statement.
Well, we see you, buddy.
Wow.
The world's going to see him too. Real soon.
And I have to say, like, as an attorney, I have to work within the confines of what I'm allowed to say, the way I'm allowed to say it, what I'm allowed to do. And, even long before I became an attorney, I was a school teacher. So I would, teach things in the ways that I was allowed to teach. But you're still, even as a school teacher, you have a curriculum you're supposed to follow. You have to stay in confines. But in the legal field, in this country alone, we have one of the largest numbers of wrongfully incarcerated individuals in the entire world. And there was a large, decades worth of span where you didn't have content creators, you didn't have independent media journalists, you didn't have social media being available in the way it is today to get the word out, to make people aware, to organize groups in the same way. I mean, people still organized back then, but it wasn't to the extent that you're able to do now. And I think that, even from an outside perspective, looking in and watching just you guys do your thing, it's incredibly important for somebody like Karen Reed, for somebody like Kelsey, to have people in their corner shedding more light and exposing more truths, because once the truth is out there, and I don't mean to, sound cliche like a X-Files tagline.
X-Files, yeah.
Once the truth is out there, you can't hide it. You can't put toothpaste back in the bottle once it comes out. It's incredibly important to keep that pressure and to keep that news flowing and to keep the truth coming out, because that's how you get results.
100%. And Adam, I've got to just look back for a second. Like, think of the differences that we saw with Karen Reed's story between the information we got from the major headlines and what really happened and what the evidence really was. We saw some of the biggest names in the media saying things that either were completely inaccurate or were so watered down that it almost didn't make sense and came up with a completely different narrative. So it is so important that we have, the people that we have to do these deep dives. And for those who really do want to know the totality of information, that these channels are available for them.
Yeah.
Right, because mainstream media, they have to, you might get a 1-minute clip on something if it's important enough. And, here we are, we're about to go into 3 hours of talking about this and spreading awareness. Whereas mainstream medias, they have advertisers, they have time restraints, they have people they have to answer to. Where YouTube community, we're all independent. We're doing this, of our own free will, and we can sit here and dissect it and talk about it and give our thoughts and opinions, where you wouldn't get that with mainstream media.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. We have the opportunity to sit here, like you said, for an extended period of time, hours, in fact, where all these other news entities that are national, whether it's your MSNBCs, NBC, CNN, Fox, all of them, they all have segments. They all have a limited amount of time as they can talk about things. We can sit here for 2.5 hours and talk about this. Not only that, we're not limited to one channel, right? Calling All Beings and many other channels have talked about this as well. And what we learned with the Karen Reed case was that how much of an ability we all had to come together and bring about change for people that we felt were being dealt bad hands and unfair hands. And that's exactly what we see here with Kelsey. Is another, Kelsey's kind of like Karen. Karen, when she stood on the court out front of the courthouse steps, said, she's marshaled every resource, and we know who did this. And likewise with Kelsey, she said when she was released from jail, before she was basically screwed over and sent back to jail just days later by the judge, quite frankly, she said the truth's going to come out. The truth will come out. And it's kind of that same mentality here, and the anti-Karen Reed folks came out. So you guys are just supporting another similar person in a similar circumstance. Because, it's like, folks, no, we're supporting people that we feel are being treated unfairly and unjustly. Explain to me why Kelsey Fitzsimmons is in a prison cell. Now, if you want to explain to me why she's under house arrest, I'm willing to understand that. Okay, maybe there's whatever reason they want to justify. Okay, fine, get it. We can deal with that. We can let her. We can support her fighting from that point. No problem. But this point of being in jail right now, it's bad enough she can't see her own kid. Bad enough. Bad enough she got shot. Bad enough. Then you tack on this whole jail thing. This is where it just gets to the point of she's already been dealt enough bad hands as it is. Now you want to add insult to injury. Lost her fiance. Lost her child. Lost her ability to even stay under house arrest, for goodness sakes. Is now in jail in Western Mass, okay? And I ran the how long it takes to get from Chicopee at that women's correctional facility all the way to that probate court in Essex County in Salem. And it was about 2 hours and 4 minutes without rush hour traffic.
Wow.
I was just out there on Wednesday. I had to go out there for a court case, and it took me almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Coming back in rush hour in the afternoon to get back here on our side of the state. It's
insane. And I mean, go ahead, Brett.
Just on the flip side of that coin, in the exact same Commonwealth, the exact same justice system, just this week, there was a man in Norfolk County who pled guilty to charges associated with possession of explosives that had the capacity to take out multiple humans. Okay.
And trafficking cocaine as well.
Yes. And drug trafficking. Pled guilty to all that and was sentenced to probation. Probation. You really mean to tell me that this Commonwealth looks at Kelsey Fitzsimmons and this other human being who was in possession of these types of weapons, which there are only a couple of intentions you can have with being in possession of those things. And you're going to tell me that Kelsey out of those two is the more dangerous one.
Yeah.
He's
And
he's
that's
not
why-
incarcerated. He's not on house arrest. He's on probation.
And that's why anyone who watches that video of Kathleen, the judge, is enraged, because it's outrageous. It doesn't make sense. It comes off bias. It comes off like you have some kind of agenda. Why are you so mad? Why are you taking it so personal? And that's why if we can get this story out there, anyone who sees that is going to automatically be like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Something's wrong here.
And just like Karen Reed, in addition to the list that you were given, Mazza, both women lost their careers and their homes.
Yeah.
Obviously, just to add, so again, the parallels with the Karen Reed case, yes, it's a different story, but all the different parallels and the judges being unfair, having emotions and storming off the bench and just being very reactive.
Yeah.
It's all the parallels are crazy. And, we have all of us that came into, the justice movement in whatever capacity, I'm just grateful to kind of have a blueprint, because we know what worked for our advocacy for Karen. And hopefully this is what we're trying to bring forth now, is this advocacy for Kelsey. And, we may not, every little bit helps, whether it's, standing out, sharing, talking about it. And, we just got to do the best we can, because we know what worked. So we're going to keep it.
Adam, what would your next move is? And regardless of what her attorneys are presently doing, if you were an attorney, whether in probate or criminal court, what would be your next? But just hypothetically, what would you do next as her attorney? What would your next step be?
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not following her probate case
That's okay.
I don't even know what stage in it she is at this point. But one thing that I do in all my cases, if you're gonna try to make my life difficult, especially in the family and probate case, I would be hitting him, I would be burying him in discovery right now. And I would be making sure that I get every document, I get every communication, I get every text message to anybody he's talking to. I would expose him for every single thing he's trying to hide. I would bury him in discovery. As far as the criminal case, Baker mentioned it, and it's no different than what we witnessed in Karen Reed. When you are a criminal defense attorney, you're not allowed to initiate your own investigations. You can't have your own testing of like DNA evidence done. You've got to get the prosecutor permission. That's what limited Alan and David in their case with Karen. So, a lot of things that I'm sure Bradel would love to do, he's not able. And then again, it all depends on the judge you're in front of. If you get a judge that doesn't want to listen to you, and like I've filed motions in my cases where I had a judge once, we stepped in court, the judge came out, our case was called, and she like stood up from her chair and she's like, I'm going to tell both of you as counsel, you are both on a short leash. We have more important things to do than to be wasting time here with you guys. And it literally, like, you just stand there and you're like, oh, so that's how we're playing this today.
Wow.
But, the important thing is you have to stick to your guns. And obviously, like, even me, I am a newer attorney. I watch people like Tim Bradel, and it's a learning class for me. And he certainly knows way more than I do at this point. But, you file, obviously she's appealing to the SJC to get bail. I just, at this point, continue the discovery. Discovery in the family and probate matter could even be used in the criminal case. If there is stuff that her fiance was hiding or information that's not coming out in the criminal case, you now have an open opportunity in the family and probate case for added discovery. So if I would actually blend, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why Bradel is advising on the family and probate, because everything you get in the family and probate can be used to potentially help you in the criminal case. So you blend the two and you use the avenues that you have available to get the truth to come out in any way possible. Because at the end of the day, if you have a judge that's not listening to you and won't allow you to do things, you're kind of screwed. And I've had cases where I have not been allowed to introduce evidence. I have had every single question that I asked objected to and sustained. And then the other side asks the same exact question of a different witness, and it's allowed because the judge is clearly biased on one side. You know, we're a self-policing profession, no different than essentially police are, where, you know, you have internal affairs officers who are part of that department doing investigations. We as attorneys and judges have to report each other. I've had to file CJC complaints against judges. I have actually gotten judges in trouble. I have had to file BBO complaints against other attorneys. You know, you don't necessarily like doing that, but when that's the only option you have to expose deep-seated bias connections and corruption, then you do whatever you have to do. And at this point, I think that if you're gonna be strong-held and she's going to be kept in prison and you're not going to be allowed access to things, then you use whatever avenues you have for evidence and discovery. And I think, to me, if I was Bradel, I'd be having Hess do some added discovery on the fiance and family and probate court. I'd even, use the family and probate court. If he's alleging certain things with her job, then I'd be sending third-party discovery to the police department. And I'd be at least trying to backdoor discovery to get evidence I can in any way possible. And then if the judge wants to step in to be like, whoa, you can't do that. Well, then let the judge step in, but I'm still going to try.
Yeah.
I like your attitude about it.
Yeah, I like it.
Listen,
No, but
there's enough corruption across the board. And you could tell people have personal, relationships with people. You could tell right away. You walk into certain courtrooms and you can see that the judge and the other attorney, they're with each other all the time and they're all buddy. And then you question whether they're playing golf together on Sundays. You do whatever you have to do to get around that. Okay, I'm not part of that club, but I'm still going to beat that club.
Yeah.
And all that extra work that the attorneys are going to need to do costs money. So any little bit that you can throw into Kelsey's defense fund is appreciated, and it goes a long way. Nothing is too small.
I don't think people understand just how quickly legal bills add up. And, I can speak for myself in my own law firm that I try to give breaks to my clients as much as possible. Like, I don't seek to nickel and dime them. But when you're sending out discovery requests, when you then have to analyze, 4,000 pages of documents, I actually just got discovery back in one case, and my discovery response was a 2,700 page PDF that I now need to pay my paralegals. And obviously, I need to go through it myself, have to go through every line of every document and then tie that back to other documents. Legal fees add up really quick. So when you have a team of 7 lawyers and you have 2 different cases, both the criminal case and the family and probate court case going on at the same time, Kelsey is going to need as much funding as possible to help her get through this. So absolutely, if you have the ability to donate, please do. I know that we're not in a good financial stability right now in this country, and everybody's struggling with something. But if you're going to look at your own struggles, compare your own struggles and the fact that you're home with your own families right now, you can see your own child and realize that she can't, and everybody's trying to stand against her when they shouldn't be doing that. So if you can give $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever it is, I'm sure Kelsey would be more than appreciative of it, and it would certainly go to help.
And it goes beyond
It's
just
her
the
first
lawyers
Christmas
as well.
with her baby.
Yeah, that's that's another thing. Hopefully she'll be out before then, knock on wood. I don't even want to think that far. But this goes on beyond just the attorney. She's going to need experts if it goes to trial. And that's a whole nother, bag of worms. And those experts are just as expensive as the attorney. So she has a lot of things coming her way that she's going to need funds. So if we can make it to where she's able to have those experts and those extra funds to help take just a small portion of what she's going through off of her plate, let's do it. We're the community who loves to help people, and you guys are all amazing. So I know that we're going to do what we can.
Awesomely said, Lauren. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Ab, thank you for that as well. It's just exactly what it's all about too. And we just have another donation come in. We're at 36. The total fund is at 36,600 right now. So that's awesome. We got Kelsey's GiveSendGo over the $36,000 mark tonight, which has been absolutely huge. $1,542. $1,542 has been contributed tonight during this show, which is awesome. And I think that's huge. I like what you said too about the experts as well, Lauren. I think that's a huge part, as we saw during the Karen Reed case. ARCA, Dr. Marie Russell, these were experts that needed to be flown in, put in hotels. It's a very exhaustive and intensive process across the board to have all these people vouch for you and all that. Obviously, there's a lot of matters here that would need to be discussed and some experts that would need to come in. But you make a great point. That's why giving the money is good. But I also think one more thing, because my nose has been itchy all day, is the best way to raise money too is to first raise awareness. The more people that know about this, the more people that can donate. There was a person that called in my show, I think a year in between trials, between the Karen Reed trial. And she says, why does it have to be us people, the same people giving over and over and over again? Well, look, I said, look, the best way to counteract that is to get more people involved. And the more people, it's like when people play Powerball or Mega Millions, right? There's people that play it regularly. There's no winner. The amount goes up and up and up. And then when it gets really high, all of a sudden all these other people come in. And it goes from a $700 million pot to $1.1 billion in a matter of a couple of days, because all these other people jumped in too. Mm-hmm. And it kind of works like that with the GiveSendGos and helping Karen, helping Kelsey, anybody else, is the more people that are involved is the more hands that have an opportunity to contribute $5 to $100 minimum. And that all adds up of it in itself. And that was always my theory, is that part of this show is not only to fundraise, but it is for us to educate ourselves. Like every time we all do this show, we're all educating each other. There's times in the show we're like, well, what happened? What was it? And we figured out what we don't know, the missing piece. Then we all become smarter. And every time I did a Karen Reed show, I got more and more educated. We all got more and more educated. But the same thing, we have the chat that's sometimes filling us in on things. Us sometimes filling the chat in on things. And we're all collaboratively getting more educated. And that's really what it's about. It's education, awareness, then the funds come in, more people come in, then you're raising it up. And I'll say this, Kelsey's in a very strong standing right now. Karen, for the longest time, we didn't, none of us were really doing this online for quite a while for Karen. For me, it was about, I don't know, a year and a half later, I think fall or 2023 or something, or early 2024 or something. And this thing had almost been 2 years old by that point. This is just months ago, and here we are collectively. We've all raised $36,000 for Kelsey so far, and growing. This thing is bound to hit $100,000, no problem at all in time, and it will get even higher than that in time as well, because this story, it's just getting going, and this movement's just starting to brew, and it's going to take our efforts individually as well as collaboratively to continue to raise awareness, get the word out there, share this with people. And I'll tell you, a lot of these people that are here right now are all Karen Reed supporters that have all basically, just, it's like going to college. You go to one class and then you go to the next class, and people just roll right into the next classroom that are already on campus. It's the same thing here or in high school.
That's what I'll say was so fantastic about Kelsey's situation. If we can find any silver lining to it, the timing of what happened to Kelsey was divine intervention in its own way. because Kelsey was able to piggyback off of the momentum that came from Karen. So many of us still had that fire in our belly from fighting for Karen, and we were able to then have a new outlet for it, and that was Kelsey.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. If there's anything positive about Kelsey's situation, which there's not a whole lot, but the timing of all this could not have worked out better for her, because had it happened earlier, she probably would have been buried underneath all of the Karen Reed news. Her story, probably never would have made it above water. And had it happened much later, who knows? The movement likely would have fizzled out, and we all could have gone our separate ways. Who knows? So having it happen, for lack of a better way of putting it, at such a time as this, was perfect for her, to where now we are able to, use that existing energy and have a place to put it.
Yeah. It's huge.
And Mazza, just so you know, I'm also part of the Monday night Nacho Night over at JJ Grimsby. So we are still doing fundraisers for her. We meet every other week. So again, it's JJ Grimsby in Stoneham, beginning at 6:00. So if you are local, you want to come down, support the cause. We have a great group of people that attend, and we'd love to have you and meet you. And Adam, hopefully you'll be able to come up one of these days. We've missed you.
Yeah, they're doing great things over there on Monday nights. Just absolutely great things.
You're muted, Adam.
I know. I was waiting to get yelled at. I have had court every Monday afternoon for like the last 2 months, and I am going to try. I promise.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Trying all we can ask for.
Oh.
And I just want to say.
Okay,
go ahead.
I just want to say, just going along with the whole thing of in the future. I know it's hard to look in the future right now when this is the turmoil that's going on, but I just want to say that Keaton is going to know how much his mom fought for him, and I think that is a beautiful thing. That this is. No one could want this to be on television, to be on, have their stuff spewed about on the internet. But if it's one thing, talking about silver linings, is that baby boy is going to know how much Kelsey cared for him and fought for him. And he will know when he gets older and it's appropriate, where things actually went, and he will know the truth. And I think that's beautiful when he's old enough in due time.
Yeah. It seems like, the common denominator between Kelsey and Karen is they're both very strong women as well that intend to stand up and tend to fight. And I don't wish to minimize what Karen went through, but Kelsey's situation from a physical and mental standpoint is a little bit more trying, just because of two reasons. Number one, her baby was taken away. Number two, she was shot. And that is no way to minimize what Karen went through at all. But it's just we always feared Karen Reed going to jail. Like we were always afraid they were going to throw her in jail. We fought to prevent that, and we succeeded, because she was innocent. But we were always worried that they were going to, at some point, try to throw her in jail. We were thankful she never did. And now all of a sudden, this is a situation that's kind of showing us an even worse hand, where her baby's been taken away. She is in jail. She is in a very bad situation for herself that is no fault of her own, and is, postpartum depression. It's a mental matter. That it has a psychological effect. And, here she is, we always feared would happen to Karen, and we always heard the Karen Reed haters say, she's going to go to jail. She's going to go to jail. Well, Kelsey is in jail, and we don't like that. And it makes us very mad. It does. And we're going to continue to fight for her as well. And I wonder if, just like to Britt's point, if there's just an overall situation here where bigger things are at large, that there's a reason why Karen was potentially chosen in life to be that warrior, and why Kelsey is too. I don't know. But I feel like there's a reason that we're all battling this together collectively, and that there's some reason, something needs to be exposed in this state. And I think what we're learning through what Kelsey's going through, and what, like Sandra and Karen, for example, isolated to Canton, right? Expanded into the state police, with Karen at least. And this situation, it's now a different county. It's still in Massachusetts, but it's a different county. And now all of a sudden, it's like, we always knew that all these counties have their own issues, but now it's like, what else is going on in Massachusetts? And I'm sure all the powers that be were probably, okay, Karen got acquitted, but now we can kind of go back into hiding behind the curtain again. And this Kelsey Fitzsimmons matter has now kind of opened it back up again and said, no. Obviously, you're going after Kelsey Fitzsimmons. What happened to Karen was basically a group of folks working together at multiple levels to try to throw her in jail, to blame her for a crime she didn't commit. In this particular situation, seems to be a lot of powers that be that are claiming she tried to open fire on a police officer in her own town of North Andover. And it just seems that these are two situations that are very comparable, where an innocent woman is being lied about and what she did or didn't do. There's evidence to the contrary. There's justification to the contrary. And all these other people that are involved, it's her. And it makes me sick. And it riles me up a lot more, too, that we're seeing Kelsey face this set of circumstances, which is right now sitting in a jail cell. And we did a show on October 11th. She was in jail. We did a show on October 19th, raising money. She was in jail. All 4 fundraisers we've done on this program have been when she's in jail. And she shouldn't be in jail. And at the very worst, house arrest. But this is, this was a matter that has got so escalated by other powers that be to pass the blame on to her. I don't think a gun jammed. I think she tried to put a gun to her head, and that officer possibly just overassessed it, or there's some stories out there that Megan suggested this thing might go a lot deeper than we realize, and this could have been a lot more volatile. And that's what we learned about the Karen Reed case too, as things went on. It just seemed to get more and more volatile, didn't it? And it seemed like once that second trial started, all these accounts on X just sprung up that were trolling people harder than ever. And it just makes you wonder, what is going on behind the curtain in Massachusetts? Why is it opening? Why are people, this is not just people out on shows, this is every single person that's on the chat. These are people that don't even participate in chat, but watch these shows silently. There's some reason why people in this world are having their eyes open to seeing what's going on out there. This was not my calling in life. My calling in life is to do what I'm doing tomorrow with Mark Betterow, which is sports talk. I did sports talk for years on this channel. Now, all of a sudden, I talk about the Karen Reed case, and people were asking me a year ago, what are you doing next? I'm like, probably going back to sports. Now here I am fighting for Kelsey Fitzsimmons, because this is what suddenly opens my eyes. Thank you so much, Lauren. Yes. But this is what opens up my eyes. And I sit here now and I say, what's the governor doing? She basically got, Maura Healey, the governor, got her start from Martha Coakley. Martha Coakley pipelined Maura Healey into a position of power in the state of Massachusetts. And Maura Healey was able to elevate herself to the role of governor, far surpassing Maura Healey as Attorney General, her highest level of accomplishment, which is both high levels of accomplishment, no question about it. But Martha Coakley is, come on, Governor. You can't, Martha Coakley's fighting for her. Appointed you. Jason Grant, my guy, what's going on, man? Appointed her. At no point can Maura Healey look into this for Martha Coakley and say, hey, look, Deval Patrick in 2014 said that a woman with postpartum depression should never be cuffed or shackled. But yet, court earlier in this chat said she was cuffed and shackled and all that, or in her hospital bed. And these are the things that people say, what do you expect the governor to do? Well, I expect the governor to enforce the law. And if Deval Patrick enacted a law on that, then that should be enforced. And that means that if Kelsey Fitzsimmons had postpartum depression, whether still presently or in the past, well, then that law is still enforceable, that she shouldn't be shackled or arrested, and that she should be given whatever she needs in that matter. if she had her baby taken away, if she lost her fiance, if she was at risk of losing her job and she decided to commit suicide, people have pushed her into that set of circumstances. That was not a set of circumstances she chose. That was a set of circumstances that literally, quite literally, arrived at her very own doorstep and entered her home and placed her in a situation where she was not able to mentally, due to postpartum depression, fully handle the situation without feeling a suicidal urge. They pushed her into that situation. There was some movie where something happened to a character and they all said, who did this? And we did this. We caused this to happen. It was us. And I'm talking about the people that pushed Kelsey. They put her in that set of circumstances to make her
Quite
react
literally.
in a way. Yeah.
By not
Yeah,
going
go
in there and
ahead.
securing the weapon. Yeah,
Right.
by not securing the weapon.
Yeah.
By
3
protecting
against
herself,
1.
Kelsey, yes, they quite literally put her in that position.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think you made great points, Mazza. Like, why did they frame Karen Reed? Oh, well, it was to take the heat away from themselves because they knew what they did. Well, that
Yeah.
parallels quite nice to this. Why did Justin go in and do that self-serving motion at the time that he did? Could it have been to take some heat away from what was really going on, what he was doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, could it have been that Noonan said that he put the gun towards him because he overreacted and actually just shot her because he panicked? Yeah, it could be. So there's a lot of similarities of people framing Karen that can correlate into this situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that greatly. It's just
Yeah.
a fact. Via, did you want to?
I was just going to say it was 3 officers against one little tiny woman and a baby.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it didn't need to escalate to that point.
No.
They escalated it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that fact to begin with has always bothered me, that she worked for that department. There were other things going on, and not only did they not send a neutral party to serve, but they sent 3.
Yeah.
So they sent a small army to go confront her, and that's not how it's usually done at all.
No.
So that right then and there, that by itself shows escalation rather than de-escalation. It almost appeared from the jump that they were looking for something to happen. They were looking for a fight. They were looking for to pin something negative on a situation.
Yeah.
The negligence that was shown in that department on a million different things that night is disgusting, and they quite literally put the gun in Kelsey's hand regardless.
Yeah.
You can't get around that.
Yeah. It looks like Court had the message for you here, Lauren. She says, Lauren, you want a new case?
I'm not licensed up there. Plus I don't, but
Well,
I'm here to support, to, give suggestions.
Yeah.
Man, I'm all about it. This is the kind of stuff that pisses me off because
Yeah.
we have
Lauren,
enough to deal with. Yeah.
Lauren, just like we told Nan, there's a simple solution for that. We can
Yeah.
get here.
Yes, I know. Well, hey, look, if we keep covering all these cases, I may have to because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Certainly use you up here, believe
yeah.
me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're going to have to
You
start
can get a
recruiting
second
attorneys.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get a second home up here and do the snowbird in reverse.
Right.
Yeah, I
Because
do
you
like
live in
snow.
Florida,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you can.
Right. Robert,
Yeah.
Alessi, yourself, all you guys, we just need you guys all to come to Massachusetts. We need help up here. We need all the attorneys we
Yes.
can get.
Yes.
That's for sure.
But
It's a
I'm
tough-
very hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm very
It's a tough
hopeful that all
situation.
of this will work.
Go ahead,
itself
Lauren. I'm sorry.
out.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I'm just very hopeful.
Yeah.
Like this is,
Yeah.
if you just take the simple thing that the grand jury said absolutely not, and they didn't indict her for that
Mhm.
standard is so low. It tells you really all you need to know about this case. The fact that they're, doing so many things that seem so precise for no reason. Is it because they're pissed off they didn't get that indictment? Like they're trying to take the case to trial the next week. Why? Come on.
Yeah.
I just think that everything is going to be out in the open and shown, and she will be back home with her baby where she needs
Yeah.
to be soon.
I hope so, because this is one of the most out of proportion circumstances that
Yes.
I I can imagine. I mean, just looking back at how many murder defendants we've seen just in the past few years who are out on bond, not being tested for alcohol, things like that. Nobody, I mean, I hate to put it bluntly, please don't take me as being insensitive when I say this, but nobody died at Kelsey's hand in any of this. Nobody besides Kelsey. I keep kicking my table. I'm so sorry, guys. Nobody besides Kelsey is injured.
Yeah.
And here she is being restrained exponentially greater degree than these other defendants of murder, of manslaughter, of far greater crimes. I'm just shocked by it.
And if anyone here has seen photos of Noonan, well, it looks like he works and then he goes to the gym, and then he works and he goes to the gym. He's huge. He's veiny. Take that for what you will. I don't know, but something smells a little bit fishy to me on that too. He's a big burly guy. To say that he would be scared of his partner, which he knew, and he knew her character, get out of here. That's disingenuous.
And has way more experience than she does on the force as well. Because remember, he was on there for something like 20 years, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And he came back on that department. He was gone for a while, which I have questions about too, but
yeah. I saw something about his transfer and stuff like that, but man alive. Yeah, it's just
this whole case stinks. It doesn't something
backwards.
Yeah.
Completely.
And the fact that she was being served with a restraining order for what? What did she do to her baby or him?
Mm-hmm.
Can we let's just take it back before we even made it in the house?
Well, again, the whole restraining order things comes down to getting bullet points out.
Yes.
Judge ex parte without hearing any information that you pose an actual threat and they're afraid of you, and that you're gonna hurt him or the baby. There was probably a bunch of things said to the judge that without anybody there that can say, whoa, that's not true. You get that initial 10-day restraining order granted, and then they schedule the hearing, and that's exactly where it all fell apart. Obviously, there were lies said to the judge to get the judge to say, yep, that rises to the level. We'll grant that 10-day restraining order. And then the department was like, you know what? We'll send a small army to go serve her.
Mm-hmm.
And they chose to set it up in a way that escalates the situation.
And here's the one nugget of information that you need to know that all of it is bogus. Who shows up with the police to serve their own restraining order? Nobody. If I ever had a restraining order against somebody, if I ever applied for that, I wouldn't go with the cops to watch the restraining order be served. A guardian ad litem should have taken the child, had there be a bit of time where just that social worker or guardian ad litem was with the child, gave the child an assessment to make sure the child was not hurt and did not need anything, that the child was being fed, before then possibly handing off the child to the other
DC
parent.
Worker would have taken control of that child. It would have been in their care and custody. We would have, because I used to work for DCF, we would have had a letter from the judge that put that child in our custody. Then it could have been immediately turned over to a family or guardian or whatever, but it wouldn't have been at that location. That is highly inappropriate. That escalates things. That is so far from what is supposed to go on. So it's everything in this case is backwards.
Yes. And again, if I'm afraid of somebody and I want a restraining order against that person, I'm not going with the police to serve that restraining order
No.
unless I'm not really afraid.
He shouldn't have been allowed to, even if he wanted to. It's not
Yeah, that's a
appropriate.
good point. Yeah. It's just so much is out of hand here about this. It's uncommon. And we, Lauren, we talked last time about the DCF aspect of this. There's no DCF on hand. You're gonna take, even though you're serving a restraining order, I totally get it. You don't have a DCF agent or representative there to ensure a peaceful transfer of the custody of that child from her to him. At least it's just, this whole thing is outrageous. And you just talk about putting Kelsey Fitzsimmons in a situation that is absolutely a raw deal and beyond insanity. And then at the end of it, her reaction is then used against her, and then she's thrown in a jail cell because she can't complete a test. Let's put it this way. Before they walked in the door, she was never shot, right? She had never had any wounds, never had any DUI, never had any issues breathing. So they go to serve this inappropriately. She gets shot. Now she can't breathe. Now you got a judge saying, well, now that you've been shot, let's make sure you have to do a breathalyzer. And matter of fact, let's throw you back in jail because you're unable to complete that. This thing is so screwed up. It's out of control. And the biggest thing that's screwed up about this is that this judge can just make these kind of declarations on the stand, make these kind of rulings, send her back to jail, and just, there's nothing that can really be done immediately to amend this. And even if she does get out of jail one day, the sad part is that she ever spent a single day in jail to begin with. That's the most sickening part. She's got to sit there day after day after day, 24 days away from the next hearing on the 25th, I believe, right? Or is it the 21st? It's that week of Thanksgiving. It's the
Be as good with
25th.
dates. Be a Jew.
It's the 25th. Yeah, it's the
I see
25th.
the light, the glow from your screen. B.
Oh yeah,
I was like, wait a minute, can I look real fast?
Yeah, that's not her screen. It's actually just her mind illuminating as she thinks. She just glows.
Yes,
Exactly.
I love that.
But yeah, I mean, she spent all this time in jail. Bad enough she can't see her kid, but it's even worse on top of everything. She's sitting in a jail cell day after day after day because, she can't complete a breathalyzer test. And Adam, we talked about this earlier in the show. They can't offer alternatives. It says that Massachusetts Lawyers Weekly article says it. They could send someone to her house. I never knew that till I read this article. They could just send somebody to her house for $3 a trip.
The options are ridiculously well versed nowadays. We're not talking about being archaic. We're not talking about living in the 1920s. There are multiple different options in different fashions that things can be done. I mean, I've seen people who have robbed banks, armed robbery of a bank, that have been granted bail, that have GPS time windows where they're still allowed to go to work, and then they go home and they're allowed to do urine tests or blood work, and people go to their houses. Like, all of this is standard procedure in the criminal world in this state. There's absolutely no reason why they are restricting her from being given the same, what's the word I want to use? The same opportunity.
Courtesy?
Well, yeah, in this, not just courtesy, but the same opportunities as everyone else. But if you want to talk professional courtesy, she is a police officer. Yeah. She's clearly not a bad police officer. We're not talking about somebody who's doing what Michael Proctor did. We're talking about a police officer suffering from a psychological situation that happened because of birth. I'm not even going to get into like what the DSM-5 says about postpartum depression. Yeah. But it's not something to take lightly. Yeah. And you should be giving her the professional courtesy of being a good cop who is also enrolled in law school. It's not
to mention, it's documented that she was on the up and up from that mental health issue.
We're not talking about a gang member who is robbing cars and holding at gunpoint.
Right.
We're talking about a respectful police officer who's also was a law student. And you should be showing her at least, at minimum, a little bit of professional courtesy.
Sure. Right.
And the ADA, too. Her injuries, the fact that she couldn't blow into this, could have fallen under the ADA rules as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now it
Absolutely.
definitely would. Absolutely. It's being discriminatory about a disability.
Another thing that I loved about the publication this week was that it highlighted the waste of tax resources that, any kind of unnecessary pretrial detainment is. Giving Kelsey 3 hots and a cot for months on end is going to cost the taxpayer so much more than sending a phlebotomist to her home or, having her be part of the probation program. It's so wasteful.
Yeah.
And I said this last week, and I'll say it
appalled.
again. I don't think they would have thrown her back in jail had this been a male officer. So say what you will about that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kelsey,
I'm gonna call it like I see it. I don't think so either.
Kelsey is going to have to sign off at 9:15. So people in the chat are saying goodnight to her as we speak. I'm not sure if Kelsey's able to hear this or watch and hear it, but either or. Kelsey,
I think both.
Yeah,
I think
both.
she can
Okay.
watch. Yeah, I think they call in on that Soteris app. Is it an app or something,
yeah.
Adam?
Yeah.
And then they can see. Yeah,
They can see it. Yeah,
it's like
So
a
that's good.
FaceTime.
FaceTime thing. That's good. We'll wish Kelsey a good night's sleep, and we're just going to pray for you always, and then have our thoughts with you as always. But also beyond all that, actions. We give you actions as well, which is spreading awareness, learning ourselves more about this, and additionally raising funds for you as well, which is all important. Tonight it looks like a very successful fundraiser here. Total so far is $1,567, $1,567. The GiveSendGo is over $36,000, $36,625 tonight raised, which is absolutely fantastic. We'll continue to help you out in any way we can. And again, just pray for you, obviously, Kelsey, and just stay strong. Just do everything you can to get through this period of your life. And I know it's beyond understanding, what you're going through. And we're just going to continue to stand with you. And we hope to meet you one day as well. And most importantly, the most important part is to see you reunited with your child and also cleared of any accusation that's obviously false as well. And I'll leave it to anybody else that wants to get a few quick words in before 9:15.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you. We know what is coming are all good things. This is temporary. And like I said, you're a warrior. You got this, and we got you in any way that we can help you. We are here, and we support you and believe you.
Excellent.
I'm going to put this out there. If you don't want to do it, cool. If you do want to do it, cool. But Mazza, you were saying that we're praying for her. Would it be okay with you guys if we were to right now say a prayer for Kelsey?
I'm all for it.
Okay. And whoever it is, to you. So I'm not going with any particular identity of God, but I just feel led to go ahead and have us all do it together, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Okay. God, we know that you have such a higher understanding than any one of us or even all of us together do. Your ways are so much better. And we know that this likely was not your plan. This is an effect of the free will of an imperfect human race. And we hope, though, it is our hope that this is used for not just Kelsey's good and not just Caden's good, but also for the good of the Commonwealth, that Massachusetts is able to have what has been done in the dark be brought into the light through all this. So I thank you, because I see that there is a plan here that is for not just Kelsey's good, but also for the greater good. And we trust and believe that is coming, no matter how dark things may look today. And I thank you for bringing us all together, for Kelsey's sake and for Caden's sake as well. And we just we want to lay this kind of all in your hands, and we trust that you've got this. Thank you so much for protecting Kelsey's life and Caden's. And we pray that there is a better outcome on the other side of this for everybody involved. Thank you so much. Amen.
Oh, excellent.
Amen.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Brett. Appreciate that. And Bea, did you go? Yep.
No, I know. I'll make it quick. You're in our thoughts and prayers. You and your baby are. Just stay strong. We got you, and we hope you get reunited soon.
Absolutely. And Adam?
It's 9:15, so I'm sure she.
Oh, you might get cut off. Yeah.
Just remember, the night is darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
The little things that get people caught, and it's the little things that are going to get you justice, Kelsey. Stay strong, and we'll do whatever we can to help you get through this.
Absolutely. Perfect. Excellent. Yes. Kelsey, have a great night. And, we'll get through this. And we got the prayers out for you tonight. We'll continue our, what we can do to help you as well. And, I think everybody that's tuned in tonight as well, it's donated. It's a huge donation night once again. And I can't thank everybody enough on this program as well for all your contributions. Lauren, Bea, Adam, last minute joining. Thank you, Adam, for that. Brett, you had to work, but you made it. And then, of course, Broken Baker, he was on the other end of the spectrum, which is late night, 1 o'clock, the night owl, red eye hours of the day over there and all that. So I had I had the baseball game on right down here on my phone playing. It's hooked up to the thing. So I wanted to watch the game, so I wanted to be done by 8, but I'm like, but I have to do this show. And I was getting so caught up in raising funds. I'm like, well, I don't want to end the show, but I still have to know what's going on with the baseball game. So I'll hook it up to my phone. It's 3-0 Blue Jays in the top of the 4th, but I'm going to watch the rest of that game soon. And then tomorrow at 6, I'll be on with Bettero. We're talking sports tomorrow. And I guess we're changing the clocks tonight, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spring forward, fall back. So set your clocks back 1 hour.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to Mazza for doing this and to continue to do this. You're so generous and so kind and thoughtful, and we're so lucky to have you in this community. And Kelsey's lucky to have you and doing this for her. So thank you for asking me to be on here. Thank you for doing this for Kelsey.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate that greatly. Again, I can't thank you enough for coming on here as well and just offering your time and support for her and knowledge and all that as well has been huge. Excellent. Are you on Court TV on a frequent basis these days? Or?
Yes. Usually once a week. Usually on Fridays, but sometimes I'll be called on different days too. And I'm trying to get that passed along to Court TV. I've actually talked to Vinny about this case. He wasn't familiar about it. So hopefully when hearings start happening, I can get them to pick it up, because that would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be. Pipeline into that. Court TV will reach a bigger audience, and that'd be fantastic. Yes. That's great, Lauren. Great work out there as well. And all right, anybody else have final thoughts, comments? Bea, I know you've done back-to-back shows today.
Yeah, I've been on since 5 o'clock, but no, all is good. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Mazza. You're awesome. And I appreciate what you're doing and what everyone's doing, because together we're stronger together. We can't do these shows without the chat. We can't do this chat without some, we have attorney Adam Lee, Teeper here, and, and a PI. I mean, we just, we all need this to be united and to have a cause. And again, thank you for having me.
You got it. Thank you. Brett?
Thank you to everybody who donated tonight. Firstly, thank you to everybody who participated in the discussion, either by typing it up or by speaking here tonight. I love getting to collaborate with everybody. I learned so much from all of you, and it also helps keep me it keeps my very busy and active mind focused on something productive. So I'm sure that this case does that for more than just me. but I do appreciate getting to be part of this community. And Mazza, thank you for inviting me again. It is always great getting to talk with you. You were one of the great minds of this movement, and
so
one of the great powers behind this movement too. You've been a very successful fundraiser, and I know how much of a difference not only has it made now, but moving forward, I think this is going to be exponential. So
yeah,
very, very glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate those words. Thank you so much. Likewise. Adam, Teeper, not Tepper. Deeper, not Dever.
Either one. Either one. Mark, I got to thank you for, inviting me up. I know I'm not always available. Bia can tell you how they message me and say, "Are you showing up?" And I can't always.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, like, but no matter how busy I am, I'm always more than welcome to and happy to be a resource, to be a sounding board. That's why I got into what I do, to become a voice for those who need it. And so you guys, as independent media journalists, as content creators, running your shows, you guys do so much good now, getting the word out for various cases and good causes. And, anytime that you're asking me to be a part of that, I am more than grateful, more than honored, more than willing to jump on to help you spread the word and give insight to those, to everyone who donated tonight. Thank you. And the more people are educated, the more people learn their rights, the more people learn the law, the less situations like this can happen in the future, because people will be ready for it. People won't be caught, with their hands tied, not knowing how to deal with the situation, not knowing who to turn to, thinking that they're alone, thinking that they're helpless. So the more you do, the more I am so appreciative and more than willing to, jump on and sound like a rambling idiot on occasion. But, I always appreciate the invite, and thanks for having me.
You got it. I saw you in the chat and said, "Oh my goodness, I never reached out to you to invite." I think I invited you to the last one, but you were busy. And all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, I never reached out to Adam for this show. So I'm like messaging you like, "Adam, here's the link." I'm sorry, man.
I had an event that night, and then I had a trial the next morning. I was like, I can't. I'm dead. I can't do it.
No, you got to save your mind for the next day. Your mind and focus and energy needs to be saved for that. I love your cap, by the way, Lauren.
She's wearing purple for Kelsey tonight too, just saying.
Nice. Oh, excellent.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, hey, everyone, thank you for joining the show. And everyone have a great day tomorrow as well. I'll be watching the Patriots at 1 o'clock, that's for sure. And hoping for a big win. So, Bia, Lauren, Britt, Adam, and of course, Broken Baker. I thank you guys all for participating in my show tonight. Our show. It's our show, not my show. Our show and our fundraiser for Kelsey Fitzsimmons tonight. We did a great job. Everybody that donated, thank you guys so much. And everybody have a great night. I'll fire up the screenshot here for the total donation and post it to Twitter in a few minutes. But everybody have a great night. Sleep well. Get ready for early darkness tomorrow night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Let me go to, I'm going to get the donation total up on the screen. Then we're going to wrap this show up with a screenshot. I'll be back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock with Mark Betterow. We will actually, let me set the total calculated one more time. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock with Mark Betterow Sports Talk. Did we get an extra donation? No, we did not. All right. So we got 1567 fundraiser total. I'd like to get a screenshot. 1567. It's 3-1 Blue Jays right now as well. All right, let me hide my image for a second. There we go. Perfect. Get the screenshot moment here. Things taking forever to load up. Load up. There we go. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Steph. All right, there it is. All right, perfect. I got the screenshot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. If you guys are tuning into my show tomorrow, it'll be sports talk only tomorrow with attorney Mark Betterow. And that will be that. So, guys, have a great night. Free Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Karen Reed's free. And we'll move on to helping people as needed. Thank you guys for a great night. Please subscribe as well. Please subscribe to this channel. And I'll be rooting for the Blue Jays tonight. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.